Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
And welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we appreciate you stepping on in and listening to some serious woo tonight with Varla Ventura as we get all cryptid and paranormal. And yeah, Varla is ready. Her teeth are ready. Her magic drink that she has beside her is ready. And we're ready for all of you as well, including Tim Mothman in the gold medal position, his goatee winning a gold as well. Laura Lobbs taking home the silver. Race fan with a nice bronze medal tonight. Hi, Kevin and Michael Morris. Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, Brown Dwarf, and lighting the dark remote viewing. Welcome to SOR Chat. Deer Slayer, Monica, and Desert Rat. Nice to see you all. Hi, Kurt M. And our favorite Marine, Black Dragon, is here. Thank you for your service, my man. Very much appreciated. Let's continue. Karen and the Woo Train are back. Sandra Kincaid, nice to see you. And let's see here. There's Ann Palmer. Ann Palmer's going to be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Y2K 2MI. Welcome back. And Y2K 2MI will be signing autographs after the show as well for the first time. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Don't make eye contact. The Demon. Gorgeous Amy WC and Y Native. How you doing? Good to see you all. Number 31 in your program, starting in goal tonight from Stockholm, Sweden, with a 2.26 goals against average. Lars Janssen. There he is. Jenny Whitebear, nice to see you, my dear. And Gizmo Man, Susan Alloway, just another guy named Harry. Millennium, my man. Nice to see you all. Hi, Nina Williams and Jessica All right, Shaq Valet, Ian, good morning to you. D. Cypher, T-Bone, thank you for coming on in. Hi, Robert Lamoth. And Pixie Lara, what do you think? What do you think, Pixie Lara? Pixie Lara made this for me and handed it to me in Vegas, and I was waiting for the perfect time to do it, and this is the perfect time. Temperature outside is dropping, and it was time for this beautiful toque. Not beanie, toque. To come on out and play on Spaced Out Radio tonight. There's the lovely and talented Kira. Stephen Finnegan, good morning to you. And who else do we have? Little Cam over on Twitch. Nice to see you. By the way, I did get Paisley booked for you. All right, continuing on with our roll call. Let us see. Simon the Likeable, thank you for coming on in. Big Willie, what the hell are you doing here? How's the beard, man? And congrats on the fourth kid. Or is that like the 14th? I don't know. But I hope everybody's happy and healthy, my man. Vashti Impaler. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. The Polly T, nice to see you. And Sweet Robbie G, nice to have you back. Mike Rivers, River Dogma. And who else do we have? Let's see. Eternity Eternal, Scott Rosen, thank you for coming on in. Dirt Road, and W. Decker. Thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Thank you, buddy, for your nightly support. Continuing on, Lee the Bee, Desiree White, how's the swing? And Gizmo, thank you for a great Super Chat, my man, from my hometown of Abbotsford, BC. We very much appreciate it. Geez, we got to get the radio side going. Hold on a second here. Come on, get down there. There we go. Whew, almost missed that. That way we could let Bill WD-40 into the chat room. Canna Chef Chris, welcome my Canuck friend. Good morning, Commonwealth Andrew. And who else do we have? Sabrina and Stephen, thank you so much for that lovely super chat as well, my man. I hope you're having a great morning over in the UK, our Commonwealth family. All right, moving on here. Who do we have? We have some no-name person here. I don't know their name. They don't have a name. Welcome, though. Ozzy, nice to see you. Richard Elmore, Welsh Hammer, Noel. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and over on Patreon at Spaced Out Radio, or make that Space Travelers Club. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a power show of woo tonight. We're going to get into the paranormal and silly side of everything with our cryptid world and Varla Ventura. Yes, she returns. I had to boot her last month because I decided to take a vacation instead, but we're glad that she is back and she's looking lovely as ever. And then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton brings us a spooky story. Robin Haynes has the cryptid report. It's Dave 101 night, and we'll have the weird news of the week. Let's get right to it. Our good friend Varla Ventura returns for our cryptid world. Varla is one of the top authors in the paranormal supernatural fields. Her books have been published all over the world because, why? Well, she's just that awesome. She really is. Whether it's Pookas and Changelings or Seances and ghosts, Varla loves covering the darkness of the topic. That's why we call her the Queen of the Dark Cryptids. She is a lover of all things bizarre and strange. She spends her time lurking around lakes, diving for legends, and sailing the 7 seas in search of elusive stories. Her website, varlaventura.net, and we bring Varla on here right now. Varla, big question for you. I'm going to put you right on the spot, right off the bat.
Uh-oh.
What are you doing May 10th through 12th, 2024?
Well, I don't know exactly, but that's Mother's Day weekend, so I will probably be hanging out with my son.
Okay, you got to bring him to Reno. Kira, you didn't tell me that weekend is Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah, it's Mother's Day weekend.
We may have to make a change.
Yeah.
We may have to make a change.
I mean, I wouldn't rule it out completely, but yeah, that's no.
Thank you for the update. That's actually a power update. You know, as a father, it's my job to forget about Mother's Day. You know
yeah,
that.
Right?
Yeah, right.
That won't go over well.
It's been an awesome couple weeks. You know, I have to tell you, because I know your son plays hockey and I need an update on that.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I had a couple of good things happen this year already. So I put my son on the ice. He hasn't skated all summer because he was like really blasé of whether or not he wanted to play this year. But I registered him anyways, and all of a sudden, uh, you know, late August, he was like, "Hey, Dad, are you getting me new hockey equipment?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." I wasn't sure if you wanted it or not, but I'd already registered him. The kid is skating. I didn't put him on the ice all summer. My boy is skating at least 70% better than last year when he stepped off the ice.
Oh, that's such a great feeling.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what his drive is all of a sudden, but all of a sudden, like he was always back in the pack. My son's a weaker player. He was always back in the pack and skating. Now he's in the top 5.
Mm, mm.
Don't know where it's come from. I'm blown away right now. The hockey instructor in me is blown away right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How old is he now, Dave?
He's 10.
10. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's
And
awesome.
How about your son taking, loads of rubber to the
Yeah.
face, chest?
Well, we did I don't know what you call them in Canada, but we did a AAA league this summer, which is basically just summer hockey, right? And that was actually great for him because the program that we did had a lot of practices and trainings and drills, and they had a goalie camp.
Nice.
And then he also did a 3-on-3 at this like funky little place, and he played with kids that were older than him. So he was taking shots from the next age bracket up. So that was really good training for him. And we're in the middle of tryouts. I don't know how you guys do it there. I think it depends on the size of the town, but where we are, it's like it's been going on for a couple of weeks. Tryouts are a little bit grueling. So he was cut from this. So we have AA, and then you go B1, B2, and C. So he was cut from the AA. So he has a scrimmage on Saturday for A. So
good for him.
Yeah.
Good.
So he actually wanted to do his goal was B1 or higher, because here if you're B1 or higher at this level that he's at, this age group, they get to go to a state tournament if they have a chance to go to a state tournament. Last year he was the next level down, so they weren't able to do it. So yeah, I mean, he's already kind of achieved his goal, which is excellent. And it's also a full moon tomorrow, so I might try and help him a little bit from the
a little bit of magic to help
hockey
him out.
witch. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? You are a good hockey mom. You really are. I have to tell you the other
probably
thing.
the only hockey witch in the area that I know of, but you never know.
Mm-hmm. I got to tell you another story. So I told our audience earlier this week that, my son last year, I took him to his first rock concert, and we were, I was all excited because the concert's next week. So I was lining up my tickets on the phone, and all of a sudden I saw that the event had changed to 19 plus.
Oh,
and so I called the venue, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, I can't bring my son? And they're like, no, sorry, like government regulations. We're a bar, like a 3,000 seat bar. And I'm like, damn
okay,
it.
that's a venue, but okay.
Yeah. So I told my boy that, we're not going to see Avatar this year because of where they're playing. And he took it like a champ. Right. So I called my buddy Ashy up, and he owns one of the most popular bars in Vancouver. And I told him what happened and said, hey, man, if you could get rid of my tickets, you can. Great. I'll send them to you. And he's like, hey, no problem, man. We'll figure something out. So Ashy has a couple of addictions. He's addicted to the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
He's addicted to rock concerts. So much so that he has seen Iron Maiden about 175 times around the world. And I'm not even exaggerating. He calls me today because Iron Maiden is playing Monday in Vancouver. And he goes, Dave, you're not going to believe it. He goes, I thought of you first, after your boy's going to miss that concert. He goes, how'd you like 2 free tickets for him to see Iron Maiden?
Really?
And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Right. So my boy's going to be down in the Lower Mainland with my partner this next week, and because of a family funeral and everything like that on her side. So on the Monday night, my boy is going to be horns up with
Nice.
Eddie and Iron Maiden. I've
Oh,
never
that's
seen
great.
Iron Maiden before. Okay, never seen them. I'm kind of jealous that I'm not going to get to see them.
Oh, you're
But
you're not going?
I can't go. I got my daytime job, but and I got the radio show to do as well.
Yeah.
So I
And you
can't
just took
go.
vacation, right? So
Yeah. So I can't go, but my boy is going to be horns up with Iron Maiden. And I said to him point blank tonight, I said, dude, you got to do me one favor. He goes, what's that? I said, number one, you got to throw the horns up strong. And number two, you don't come home without a concert shirt with Eddie on it.
Wait in line if you have to all night. We get that shirt.
Yeah. So he is all pumped up to go see Iron
Oh,
Maiden.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I'm pretty happy about it. Anyways, enough about our kids here, because we do have to have a show here. And because we are getting ready to enter the hallowed month of October, how excited for you that all of a sudden everything pumpkin spice is going to turn into everybody is a witch, a ghoul, a goblin, and everybody has a Ouija board story, and everybody's got a haunted story of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend.
Oh, it's great. It's like every time you look at the, you open up like the news app on your phone, it's about haunted hotels. And I mean, it's great. It just gets completely, we get inundated with the things that I love year round. So I'm here for it. Definitely here for it. I kind of felt, obviously I celebrate these things year round, but just in the last like 2 weeks or so, just the way the sky has been, and the light at 5 o'clock, and the colors in the trees, you can just kind of like really feeling it. And the other morning, actually, I think it was 2 mornings ago, we had this series of kind of like interesting events in the morning. And the first thing that happened, I don't actually remember, there was something else that happened, I've forgotten. But then my son was like, he was supposed to be packing up his backpack so I could take him to school. But instead, there was a shiny red die on the table. So he decided to start rolling it. And he just said 1 5 1 5 1 5, and he kept rolling those numbers like exactly as he was calling, like he was calling them, and then he was rolling them. It's like, oh, let's take this, take this kid to Reno. So that happened, and so it was already kind of like a moody morning, and feeling kind of spooky. And then that like witchy thing happened, and then another thing that had happened. He mentioned some term that I hadn't heard of. He's like a big like Greek mythology buff. And so he mentioned this like term that the I don't know, it had something to do with one of the myths. I've completely forgotten it now. But the point is, we got in the car, and we listened to this podcast about Greek mythology, and the next episode started, and that was the topic. So I was like, okay, you're having some synchronicity here. This is a good day for you. And then we pull out the driveway, and Donovan's Season of the Witch came on. And I was just like, oh, we're cranking this all the way to school. It's not a very long ride to school, but it was kind of, for me, that really, though I was feeling the vibes already, that really set the tone. I got to tell you something, though. I love pumpkins. I've grown a few pumpkins. This year, not the greatest success with my pumpkins, but I have one that's the size of my head, so that's an accomplishment. But I don't love the pumpkin spice latte thing. It's a little bit disgusting. I love that it's happening, and I love pumpkin, like I like pumpkin bread, and I like pumpkin like muffins, and obviously like pumpkin pie, but like that stuff is just, it's I don't know. I don't know if you remember this, but I drink my coffee black, so that might be the part of the problem too. So yeah. But I like the pumpkin spice season. So I'm okay with people who like it. I've tried it on and off over the years, and it's just too sweet for me and a little bit disgusting. Sorry, Starbucks. Guess I'm not getting that endorsement deal.
Okay. Look at this.
Wait,
Y2K2
wait.
ice cap with pumpkin spice is the best. That's the best way to ruin a pumpkin spice
Mm.
or an ice cap, by the way. Best way to ruin it. Put some pumpkin spice in there. Holy cow.
I do
Oh,
like some of the there is like this pumpkin spice they're like
go
the Trader Joe's version of Cheerios. They're called Joe-O's, and they have a pumpkin spice one that actually is pretty good, but it's like a cereal. It's more like eating like a muffin or something, you know. It's not like contaminating your coffee. So,
I
yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I love that it's the season for it, and I'm happy to see pumpkins everywhere. So, whatever it takes, you know. We got to take what we can. Otherwise, you can live underground.
whatever it may be, as long as the season comes and
This is
goes,
not a pumpkin spice latte right here.
because all of a sudden it goes from pumpkin spice straight to peppermint because we got to get
Gingerbread.
gingerbread and candy cane.
Yeah. Yeah.
The order has begun. Put it that way.
Yeah.
The order has begun.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's true. It's already, yeah. Well, we just got to lean into it. I mean, for me, I think that what I love about it is kind of the portal into the dark times. And though that can sometimes be a very, you know, introspective and challenging time, it does, like, I kind of have, you know, I don't know, I write in the summer, but I don't write in the same way as I do when the skies get dark and moody and it's getting dark at 4 o'clock and all I can really do is, you know, hunch over my typewriter. That just feels better in like the fall and the winter to do that. I think the rest of the seasons I just want to be outside more, which I do a lot of writing outside, but that's beside the point.
Well, I got to tell you, next time you are typing on your typewriter, I'm going to call you because I just want to hear the keys.
Can you hear that? Probably not, because I have headphones in. I got this typewriter's a fabulous typewriter. It's a little vintagey Smith Krone. It actually types really nicely. They don't all type well, but that one is actually usable.
So, how haunted is your house?
My house is not haunted. Well,
it is haunted. Tell us. Yes, it is.
I don't know if I want to say it. No, I don't actually think my house is haunted, but I did have something very odd happen today, which could easily be explained away, like so many experiences. I had one. I don't know. The easy explanation for this is that the batteries were all changed at the same time when they were first put up. But I had an alarm go off. Well, I'll just preface it by saying, as you know, Dave, I had a death in the family recently, very recently. So I don't know. It was a dark day, and it was, again, like, not kind of overcast, and I was just sort of like rambling around my house, you know, just thinking about things, and the smoke alarm went off in my son's room, and okay, so that happens. The batteries go low, so I went in there and I got on the little stool and I pulled it down and I took out the battery and was like, I don't know if I have any more 9 volts or whatever. So I kind of set it down, and then I went back to do what I was doing, and which was not a lot. and within a minute, the one in my bedroom started going off. So I thought that was a little odd. So I just, I kind of just like climbed up there and pulled it down and was like, okay, I hear you. Like, I got it, and took them out. Now, the easy explanation for that, of course, is that the batteries were put in within a minute of each other when they were installed, but I've never changed them since I've lived in this house. So it's been a number of years, or maybe I have, I can't remember, but I don't know. I just thought it was a little odd. It was like, I got rid of this one and I guess I didn't get the message, and then this one went off. One of those things you could convince yourself means nothing, or you could convince yourself means everything. But in summary, I really don't think my house is haunted, although I do think there's occasionally stopovers. I was actually told once by this really amazing psychic man that I met. I met him in San Francisco with my friend Liz, and I used to live next door to this bar that was called the Edinburgh Castle, and I was 7 steps from my front door to the front door of this Scottish bar, so it was pretty great setup for me. To my apartment building to there. Anyway, I met him, and we kind of befriended him, and he is extremely psychic, to the point where he sometimes couldn't walk by cemeteries and things like that because he would hear too many things and it would be kind of overwhelming for him. And he wasn't especially like raised in an environment where he could talk about that. So of course he met me and he was like, oh, great. Like we can talk about like ghosts and witches and everything, and you won't judge me. But anyway, he came over to my apartment one time and which was not decorated, not dissimilar, because, I just kind of still doing the same thing. And I said, do you think that this place is haunted? And he said, no, but I do think that things stop over here because they can see that it's a resting place. Like they can kind of stop here and they know you're going to like get it because you have, all of the accoutrements, right? All the altar and all the things. And I was extremely flattered to think of that I'm like a ghost stopover. Like I'm a wayside house for ghosts, or, the roadside bar for specters.
Awesome?
I mean, it's so great. Yeah. So I don't think my actual house is haunted. I don't think there's a spirit in the house, but I have felt things occasionally, but each time they feel very different. And I have lived in places that, I believe were haunted before, especially living in old Victorians in San Francisco, and with like more repeated similar experiences. Here, not so much, but it is definitely, there's some kind of like really, there's some good restful energy here for ghosts and spirits. And, I have a lot of really intense dreams, a lot of lucid dreams in this house, more than any place I've ever lived. So
they're attacking your mind.
That's what fine. They have at it. You're gonna go hungry in about a year.
You know what? When we only got about a minute till the break. When we come back, I want to know, out of all the haunted houses, spookiest stories.
Oh, okay.
Let's trade spookiest haunted stories.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, I worked in a haunted hockey rink.
Ooh.
This place, and I drove by it a couple weeks ago, and it's still like, I haven't worked there since 1996. Okay, 97, pardon me, and it still creeps me out.
Ooh. Oh, your stories are probably going to be a little bit more terrifying than mine, I hope. But
well, I've shared some of them over the years on this show, but I've never gone into detail. And I know you're a hockey mom, and there's typical Canadian show where we're going to talk hockey, Hauntings.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, I feel like there's like, it would be a very niche book, but there's a book in there somewhere.
I've never been more scared in a haunting than that time.
Ooh. Ooh, can't wait for that one.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Varla Ventura is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio for Our Cryptid World, and we're talking spooky stories all night long here with Varla, because, hey, 'tis the season for pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin spice candles, pumpkin spice incense, and everybody wearing plaid. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Hi, Vanessa. Varla is in Minnesota, Canada South.
Yeah, little Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. It is
Canada's
awesome.
baby sister.
Yeah. Yep.
Isn't there a part of Minnesota that you have to go through Canada to get to? I'm pretty sure, like up in the Boundary Waters area. There's like you have to actually cross over the border to get to that part of Minnesota. You need a passport.
There's an island in New Brunswick like that where you have to. I think what's the most northeastern state? Is it Maine?
Maine.
You
The-
have
I'm
so
pretty
in
sure Maine goes up further north than Washington.
so in order to get food to that island, the semi trucks have to go through the U.S. to catch a ferry from Maine
Oh,
to the island.
oh, so they have to go through customs and then go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was big stories about that during the COVID crisis.
Oh my God. I thought that was,
Right?
with like completely different rules. And,
Yeah.
obviously there's already different laws because.
Yeah. It was crazy. Hi, D. Cohen and badass Billy Gunn. How you doing? Man who comes in here with his own theme song.
It's so funny. You said that and I was like almost expecting them to respond somehow in that moment. I was just like, how come they're not saying anything? Yeah, because, they're not behind the scenes here.
Yes. Gizmo, my man. Yes, I do have my firewood stocked up. I'm going out this weekend to get a little bit more. And I went out last weekend to get firewood, and all my hot spots were gone. The trees were gone because they did a bunch of clearing a couple of years ago to make fire breaks along the logging roads. And so those were my areas to get firewood. And now they're all gone. So I have to go looking for firewood this weekend. And the following weekend, I'll be back home in Abbotsford, British Columbia, by you, Gizmo. And I am going to be there for Thanksgiving. And I will be fishing on the Vetter River that weekend to try and limit out on coho salmon. And yes, Random Guy is still around. He's busy right now, but he is around. He was around. He came on the air last week. Yeah. How freaking cool is Iron Maiden, though?
That's really cool. What a score. What a nice gesture, also. Just knowing that your son was kind of bummed about that. I bet he's like incredibly excited and.
Yes. And let me tell you, this toque by Pixie Lara.
It's amazing. I didn't see her give that to you. That is just incredible.
It is so comfortable. Did
she knit it?
Yeah, it's totally knitted. It's totally knitted. I don't know how
look at that.
How fat my head would be, but she nailed it. I mean, look at the patch she got for it too.
Yeah, Bigfoot Patrol. That's amazing. Oh, it's beautifully done too.
Oh, frick. I cannot. Oh man. And like wool toques are usually like very hot and sticky and everything. This thing is perfect. It is perfect.
Yeah.
I can't wait to wear it out this weekend.
It's because actually on Saturday, it looks great.
Oh, I should tell you, Saturday night, I had, or a couple weeks ago, I had one of the elders at at our reserve here actually call me about wanting to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I invited him out Saturday night to my Sasquatch spot.
Oh.
So Saturday night, I'm going to actually be out in the forest.
Oh, it hasn't happened yet. Oh.
No, it's happening this Saturday.
Oh.
Stephen Edmond, I will be there Saturday afternoon and all day Sunday until dinner time.
Oh, you're going to have tons of moonlight. That's a great time to do it.
Yeah. Well, we are 51 this weekend is 51 weeks since we had our encounter. with the 10-footer.
Oh, 51 weeks. So
Yeah.
almost a year?
Yeah.
Threw
Yeah.
me off there, Dave, with your math.
I know.
51
Thank
weeks.
you to W.
Oh,
Decker,
okay.
Gizmo, and Steven for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do. $5 a month, guys, gets you into the Space Travelers Club on Patreon. The link is below in the show description. Here we go with the next half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. We are on every major podcast network: Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and every major podcast network in between. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and join us in our Space Travelers Club on Patreon. VarlaVentura.net is the website for our Cryptid World co-host, Varla Ventura. Her books can be found at any major bookstore, and we are talking everything about hauntings tonight. And Varla, welcome back. I love this subject.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's lovely night to be here. I think that's
It is.
You've never called me your co-host before.
Well, you're like a little bit of everything. You're like pumpkin spice. You make everything.
Wait, some people hate me. I don't care.
Yeah, you do. I care. I care. Yeah, I know. So I'm going to tell you a little story.
Yes.
So one of my previous careers before getting into radio was when in my early 20s, I had the opportunity to become a hockey instructor. And I'm very proud to say, that over the 3 years I was a hockey instructor, I had 15 kids go on to play pro, including the NHL. I think 7 of them played in the NHL. And one actually won a Stanley Cup this past year with Vegas.
With Vegas? Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
that is very cool to me. But nonetheless, this I worked at this training facility. Okay, so take a hockey rink and shrink it to about 2/3 the size.
Okay.
And then we had a training facility upstairs with weights and the dressing rooms and everything. And things were weird there. The building was in like an industrial lot. It was a last building of an industrial lot that was shaped like a giant letter L. Okay. And it was cut out of a hillside in order to make room for this. And to this day, I think what happened was when they were digging out the hillside to create this little industrial area, I think they dug up a body that was deep there. Yeah, that's what I think happened. Okay. But that's for another day. So the weirdness really started where there would be times where you'd be in the office sharpening skates or something like that, and you'd hear footsteps on the tiles, right? And you'd be like, okay, all right, this is weird. And then driving the Zamboni, because we did everything there. Not only did we teach, but we also all drove Zambonis. And by the way, I will say this: driving a Zamboni is awesome.
Yeah, it looks so awesome.
It is awesome. All right. So if you haven't driven a Zamboni, I have. All right. But I would often see,
drive a Zamboni.
I know, right? But I would often see in our second tier viewing area, in between ice sessions, see just like a man standing.
I love that I understand everything you're saying. Like 7 years ago, I might not have, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so in the upstairs viewing area, every now and again, I'd get freaked out because I'd see a person standing there, but if I turned and looked, they weren't there,
Hmm.
right? And then it started when I started closing up at night. You know, the last guys would get off the ice at about say 11 o'clock. They'd get undressed, showered up, and they'd have a couple of beers in the dressing rooms, and then kind of go and get out. So then I had to go do the half-hour cleanup. But that last half hour, I always felt like I had to get the hell out of that rink. Had to get the hell out of there. Like the minute I turned the lights off, I was like sprinting to the door and set the alarm, sprinting to the door.
Oh.
So the weirdness was slowly starting in this place. And then all of a sudden, I get a phone call at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning that there's a fire inside the building. So believe it or not, heat helps create ice. So our ice machine, which costs like $500,000, blew up.
Oh, what?
It blew up.
I've never heard of that happening.
And here's the strange thing. The company who made it had been doing this for like 30, 35 years, had never had one of their machines blow up until this time.
Hmm.
And after that happened, weird stuff really started taking place. I remember after we reopened, I had to be there for an early morning ice session. And I unlocked the doors at like 5 in the morning because the team had to be on for practice at 6. And I'm sitting behind in the office, and there's a cement wall, brick wall behind us. And there's no tenants in the building beside us. And all of a sudden, it was like somebody was taking a sledgehammer to the bricks. And I didn't hear this, but I heard this, but a couple of the other parents heard it as well. And they're like, what the hell is that? So we grab a flashlight, we go put it at the bay doors right beside it, put the flashlight in there. Nothing is in there. Well, this is weird, right? Then all of a sudden, you started seeing this guy up in the stands more and more. After that, I started saying to my boss, because sometimes if he worked the night shift and then had to be there early, he would just sleep the 3-4 hours, pull up a sleeping bag, sleep 4 hours, and then wake up, right, for the next group. And I said, do you ever hear weird things in here at night? He's like, dude, this place gives me the creeps.
Oh, and he was
And I'm
sleeping
like,
there. Yikes.
and I'm like, what is going on? I said, is this place haunted? He goes, I don't know. He goes, but I cannot stand staying here at night. So one night we were, there was a serial killer running around my town.
Oh,
Potential serial killer
yikes.
called the Abbotsford Killer. And there was this composite photo of him. And I had to open up the rink at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I got there early. And the team that was supposed to practice didn't have to practice till 7. And as I'm kind of walking around playing solitaire on the computer, I hear a knock on the door. And I go open the door, and here's this dude that looks like the composite drawing right there.
No.
He's like, hey, can I use your washroom? And I'm like, he's like, I'm here for an ice time. I'm like, no, man, like we're closed until 6 o'clock. Like it freaked me out. Right. And the funny part about it is the composite drawing ended up looking nothing like the guy who got caught.
Oh.
Strange part about it is it looked like his brother, but that's a different story.
Oh.
Yeah. So moving forward.
But was that kid actually there for ice time?
No, he didn't. He didn't have a kid with him.
Oh, he just was saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was a creeper.
I wouldn't let him in the building. I just said no, I couldn't do it. So that was weird. Other things that happened there was one night I was going to the bar after closing up. My cousin and his girlfriend were there because we were all riding together, and I was going to be designated driver that night. And nobody had been on the ice or in the building except us three for about 30 minutes. And I'm cleaning up the dressing rooms, all the tape, all the spit, and all this, wiping down the floors that we have to do. And all of a sudden, I start hearing pucks banging off the ice and the glass. Now, for anybody who knows that sound in a hollow arena, you know that
Someone's
it's
on the
just
ice.
someone's on the ice.
Yeah.
So my cousin says to me, he goes, "Who's out on the ice?" I said, "No one. No one's here but us three. I locked the door behind us." Go out on the ice, of course, nobody there, not a single puck on the ice. Right? Now I'm like, we were freaked out on that one. A couple weeks later, something moved outside.
Oh.
I got my window open here.
We are like going to invoke something.
Maybe my bear is here. Maybe my bear is here. Come on over here if you're here. Come and say hi. Put your nose on the screen. Anyways, so a couple weeks later, it's getting close to Christmas. And it's about 2 days before Christmas, and my boss calls me in early. He's like, "Dude, I need you to help me out here. I need you to come in early." I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "The bathroom exploded." And I'm like, "What do you mean bathroom exploded? Call the plumber, not me." He goes, "No, dude, like I need some help cleaning this up."
Oh, gross.
Okay. And so you can imagine it's a 10-foot room or an 8-foot room. Okay. And imagine feces everywhere.
No, I don't want to imagine that.
Okay. It was disgusting. It was one of the grossest things I ever had to do.
My mind had already gone there. I didn't need to hear that.
It took me 4 to 5 hours to finally, besides, vomiting every few minutes.
Oh, God.
So it was a short day because we had nothing
Feces
going on.
everywhere.
So I locked up the building at 7:00 that night. And 2 days later, my boss goes back. Okay. My boss goes back to the arena because they were having a family skate. And I get a call at 11:00 in the morning on Christmas Day. And he is chewing my butt off. "I told you to clean that bathroom. You didn't clean it at all." I said, "What do you mean? I spent 5 hours. You can ask anybody who was in the rink that day that I had the bathroom shut down and that I was scrubbing it." I said, "And how many times I vomited in there, right? Over the stench and smell and everything like that, blah, blah, blah." And apparently, the bathroom had, even though nobody had been in the building or used that bathroom after I cleaned it, it exploded again.
Oh, God.
And his Christmas Day was having to clean up the mess that he thought that I left for him. But it gets weirder.
Disgusting.
This hockey rink gets weirder. The Zamboni would jump when you were driving it. All of a sudden, it would jump into gear and roll into the bay door. It even rolled into a vehicle one day when it was off on flat ground. It was like somebody was driving it and turned it into a vehicle. Then, I was 21. I still lived at home with my parents. And, it was after the bar one night. And a female friend says, "Let's go for a skate." So I bring her back, but she didn't really want to skate. So I figured, okay, let's go back to the rink. So we go back to the rink. We go upstairs. We're just about to start making out and making sweet love for the night. Things are going great. And I hear keys in the front door down below us. And then I hear the door open, close, the door lock. She's hearing this too. And then footsteps on the tile floor. And then those footsteps turn up the stairs to come up to where we are.
Oh, God.
And we're like both half undressed. Okay. We quickly get dressed up and we're waiting there to see who comes up the stairs. I peek up because there's a window. There's a window up there. There's only 3 of us who have keys, the 2 owners and myself. And I look out the window to look down to see whose vehicle is in the parking lot beside mine, and there's no other vehicle. So I said, "Hello? Who's here?" No answer. We go to the stairs. Nobody is there. The door is still locked.
Oh,
Okay. The door is still locked. I set the alarm, got the hell out of
Yeah.
Dodge.
Yeah. Goodbye.
That was enough.
Let's
So
do it in the car. Let's get out of here.
it killed the mood
mood.
right overall, right? So I ended up quitting because I ended up going to broadcast school. And after that, they put the arena eventually, or the training facility, actually, the guys unfortunately went bankrupt. Okay. And it was too bad because they had a real good thing going, but they didn't know how to run a business if their life depended on it. But it was a lot of fun while we were there. And they opened up a kids facility that has all those tubes that kids crawl in,
Oh,
So my daughter, a few years later, gets invited to a birthday party there.
Oh, God.
And she's about 5 years old. And at the time, she's 24 now. And we go there. So the owner's ringing us up, and I'm looking up. I said, I used to work here when it was a hockey rink. And she's like, "Oh, really?" So I looked at her and I said, "Seen the ghosts around here yet?" And she goes stone white. And she goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And I just knew. I said, "Yeah, you do." And she pulled me to the side and I said, "So, when's the last time the bathroom blew up?" And she goes even more pale white. She goes, "It just happened last Tuesday." And I'm like, and she goes, "You know what?" She goes, "I don't know what's in the middle of this place, but every night when I clean the facility," because they used to like wash down all the everything. She goes, "Every time I went near the ball pit, the balls would start moving."
Oh, Jesus.
And balls would start being thrown out of the pit while we were cleaning at night.
Honestly, this story could become a horror novel.
It totally could. It was really, really weird.
That is super creepy. And also, like, there's when things like that happen when you're kind of younger, I think, and you're not as used to it, I guess. It's like we're older now. We've had more experiences. We're a little more used to it. We know what to look for. We know what to say if we don't want it around. But I don't know. I mean, I was like obviously a weirdo when I was, 21, but I wasn't as experienced with the paranormal as I am now. So I feel like there were things that experiences I had that seemed maybe today they wouldn't have gone so far. Case in point, the using a Ouija board on acid in a haunted Victorian in the basement.
Oh my.
That was a mistake. I'll just say that right now. That was a mistake for a variety of reasons. I mean, the company that I was with was trustworthy, I think, and I still think that was a gentleman. But the paranormal company, not so much. So in the town that I, knocked about most of my teenage years, there was this house, and it was called the Yellow House. And the Yellow House was like the house where all the kind of like kids who got kicked out of their house or who needed a place to like live because they dropped out of high school, or the punk rockers who were like working and finishing school, or had just finished, high school and were, not going to college or whatever. So it was like flop house isn't quite the word for it, but it was a bit of a flop house. It was cool. It was beautiful, beautiful old house built in probably the 1860s. I mean, it was a very old house. And it was, it was decorated by a bunch of punk rockers. So it was painted and people had their posters up, and there were every room in the house that could be turned into a bedroom was, of course, a bedroom. So one guy had the back porch, and there were 2 or 3 bedrooms upstairs, and there was, I think 3 bedrooms on the main floor, one that was probably at one point like the dining room and all of that. And then there was like a living room and dining room. And then there was a basement. And the interesting thing about the basement is that even if everybody paid rent. So it wasn't really like a flop house in that sense, right? It was like somebody owned it and they paid everybody pulled together and paid rent, and, switched rooms when someone else would move out. And, the basement, though, like, even if you could live there for free, like, no one would stay in the basement. And it wasn't, honestly, like a lot of places in California don't really have big basements. It's not really like a basement kind of place, at least not in the area where I grew up. There was a basement. It was just sort of like, there's some storage down there, or you were kind of partly built into a hillside. And I can't remember if this basement was like a walkout where it had a door that went out. But right next to this house was like a kind of, it wasn't a sewer tunnel, but there was a tunnel that went underground and did probably eventually at one point like connected to the sewers, but it was part of this network of tunnels that you could kind of crawl around the downtown area of this little like gold rush mining town. And there were always rumors that you could pop up in the wine cellar of the, fancy restaurant downtown, that one of the tunnels like had a door that led there, and you could get wine from there and things like that. So we would occasionally, like, someone in the group would get up gumption to like go and explore the tunnels. I never really enjoyed the tunnels myself. And so I had already had this experience where I went into the tunnels and kind of had a little bit of like whatever. I think probably now it would be, I would call it a panic attack, but I just got in there. There was graffiti, and then it kind of got, I don't know, it was just, you could stand in the tunnel. It wasn't really tiny. It wasn't like it was claustrophobia, like, you're crawling down this like into this little cavern. There's just something about it. I got really, really panicked, and I kind of ran out of there. So that was right next to the house. Like, you came out of the tunnel and you kind of went around the corner, and then the house was situated there. And there had been, just interesting that you mentioned sort of like the mountain there that was like cut away, because where the house is situated, there's a mountain that was obviously like cut away to form the road. And that road actually, Dave, connects with the road that goes all the way up to Donner Pass, all the way up to Reno. So like that was the original road back in the day when people would try and come up from like San Francisco and Sacramento and get up to the mining camps and, try their hand at, making a fortune in the mines. And anyway, so naturally, like that town is extremely haunted. But back to the basement. So like no one really ever went down in the basement. And so I was dating a guy who lived in the house, but he had this funky little room that was like off the kitchen.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
We got to pregnant pause this.
I saw you.
We got to pregnant pause this. And we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We're sharing paranormal woo stories with the latest and greatest, Varla Ventura. We love her around here. Yeah. The queen of the spooky times. The double V. VarlaVentura.net is her website. We are going to continue with spooky stories and hauntings right after this on Spaced Out Radio. Good times, my friend. Good times.
You know what I meant to tell you? You know, it came in the mail like 3 days after I got back from Vegas. Was this whole packet. It came and I was like, are these more stickers? Like, I don't need any more stickers. And then I remembered that they were temporary tattoos. And that was like, I was just going to give those away and put them on people in Vegas, you know, because all the tattoo talk. And they were the, you know, the
Yes.
VV logo. So they came. I have them. They didn't come in
Nice.
time for Vegas. So we'll see.
Well, Mother's Day weekend in Reno, you're going to have to be for it. Bring the boy. Bring the boy.
Yeah.
We'll send him to hockey camp. I'm going to put you in the green room
We're
for
gonna
a couple
stay
of
at Circus.
Be right back. I am back. How y'all doing? We're having a good night with Varla. Varla. There she is.
Sup?
You got this incredible glow off your lights tonight.
Yeah, candles are good right now. They're like flickering like crazy too. And they're real candles,
It's because you have spirits.
probably.
Mm-hmm.
As they yeah. As they flit about.
Flittering about.
Flit
We got 10
about.
seconds. Thank you to W. Decker ×2, Gizmo, Steven, Human Carl, Deb, and Lightwalkers. Really appreciate the love. Here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight, talking paranormal with Varla Ventura. How fun is this? Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, at KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Salmagundi. Salmagundi is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and you could join us on Patreon at the SOR Space Travelers Club. Here's Varla Ventura. VarlaVentura.net is her website, pardon me, as we are looking towards some really, really cool spooky stories leading up to Halloween. And Varla, welcome back.
Thank you.
You are very, very welcome. Very, very welcome. All right. So, Varla, you were right before the break telling us a story about a haunting that you were in involving weird Ouija boards, and you were with an ex-boyfriend at the time and hanging on out. What happened there?
Well, at the time, he was my boyfriend. Later, he was an ex. So just to recap, right? So there aren't a lot of basements in California. Earthquakes and then rocky soil and clay. So it was a little unusual to have this basement in this house. Again, this house was built in the 1800s, and it had like this basement was. It was like out of a Stephen King novel, honestly. It was the basement with the little tiny like egress window that was all grimy and could barely let in a little bit of light and was just above the soil line. And there was a creaky staircase that sort of went down, 10 steps and then turned and then went down a couple more steps. And the door to it was an old door that, it just like no one ever really opened. But then when you did open it, it was, I don't know, it was very, very dark down there. There was, a bulb or two. And there was, honestly, as I recall it, it was my idea. So I was like, I've never been in the basement. What's in the basement? I don't know. I was just like, what? Well, I don't know. Let's go check it out. So we go down there. And I think, what probably was down there mostly were the things the people who owned the house had stored some stuff there. And a few people who had come and gone had kind of left some things down there. And so there was this very odd menagerie of things in the basement. There was the mannequin in the corner and broken radios and just like boxes and just things back in the shadows and stuff. So it was really like setting the scene for, again, it was really just like that basement where the kids kind of walking down the flashlight goes out as you're going down the steps. Flashlight didn't go out. So again, just so you know, I take full responsibility for my bad decisions in my youth, but I was like, well, let's bring the Ouija board down there. We had been using the Ouija board around the house because I was convinced that that particular house was haunted. And not a lot of people really would have thought to use the Ouija board, but you know, along comes Varla, and I said, yeah, you know, I want to try this. And so we tried it in a few different places. And Dave, you and I have kind of talked about Ouija boards and, you know, how much of it is telekinesis and how much of it is sort of, you know, or like intention and how much of it is actually picking things up. And I think sometimes, honestly, it's both or one or the other. So I don't personally have a fear of Ouija boards in spite of this story. You all might by the end of it, but you know, I still think it's an excellent tool, and like any kind of divinatory tool, if used properly, it can provide some insight and guidance. And if used improperly, such as by a couple teenagers high in a basement, bad things could happen. So it's not the Ouija board, it's the Ouija board users. You know, it's the fingers on the planchette that are really the cause. It's not a demonic entity, it's the person who opened the door for the demonic entity. So anyway, so we go down in the basement, and again, as what the setup was, like his bedroom was basically like what was like the mud room off the back porch, off the kitchen. So it was very small. It was basically just a bed. It didn't have any space to like sit and do anything. And plus everyone was always coming and going from the kitchen, so it wasn't super private. So if we wanted to do some sort of like, you know, seance like situation, you know, it was like, well, it was just one of those houses where anyone could walk in the door at any minute. So-and-so gets off work from this restaurant at 11. It's people just, you know, come home when they come home, or if they don't live there, they just show up and want to hang out with their friends. So if you wanted to do something uninterrupted, you really couldn't do it at the dining room table, right? So we go down in the basement. I don't know why, but it just seemed like a good idea at the time. So we go down in the basement, and we, of course, on my insistence, light some candles. So we got candles. We got like a dim light above the stairs. I think we had turned the overhead light out, and we started using the Ouija board. And I just want to say again, I'm still friends with this person. I still trust this person. I don't think they weren't significantly older than me. I think he was like 2 years older than me. So I don't feel like they had some sort of lascivious intent. But you know, teenage boys. So we're sitting in the basement, and we start doing this Ouija board, and it kind of starts like immediately making contact. You know where this is going, right? This is
I'm having a feeling.
yeah. This is gonna be ghost sex. That's where it's going. So we're like we're doing this session, and the Ouija board it's talking to us. We very quickly make contact with an entity, or something, and it's spelling out some, you know, just the basics. It's like I didn't have a lot of experience with it. I had used it since I was a kid, but I didn't have experience being like the conductor or whatever. So just asking some questions. What's here? What do you know, what's your name? And then, you know, again, it's been 30 years since this happened. So but it stood out in my mind, and it's been seared in my brain in many ways, because it sort of started spelling out some things like, you know, oh, well, basically it's this planchette started spelling out that it wanted to have sex. It wanted us to have sex, whether that meant, I don't know, really no, I didn't know at the time. Did it mean it wanted to watch us have sex, or if it wanted to have sex with it? It was just kind of confusing. And
Perverted is more like it.
Ghost orgy. And so the boyfriend says, I'm going to go get us something to drink. This is weird. I need to take a break. And he, goes up the stairs and he goes to get like a giant, gallon of wine or something, And of course, I think I've established that I, especially at the time, made a lot of impetuous, poor decisions, which I think made me. So I'm not full of regret, but I'm just telling it like it is. So I'm still curious. It's like if somebody says, don't read that letter, and then they leave it on the table in front of you, come on, you're going to open it, right? So he goes upstairs, he goes to get the gallon of wine, or maybe he even ran to the store. I'm not sure. Do I come up and take a break? No, I stay in the basement. By the way, we also could smoke in the basement. That was the one place inside the house where you could smoke and nobody cared. So I just decide that I'm going to continue correspondence with this entity because I'm kind of bored, right? So and I'm also intrigued. I'm bored and intrigued. So I continue correspondence, and the conversation very quickly sort of it turns into it's not graphic, but it's very insistent. It starts moving. The planchette starts moving right away. Me alone on the board, and I know I'm not moving it, which is a very weird experience because if that's ever happened to you, it's very disconcerting because when you typically do a Ouija board, you have more than one person putting their hands on the planchette. And so in the back of your mind, you can always sort of convince yourself that the other person's pulling your leg, right? They're like tricking you or they're moving it. This started moving on it, not on its own. It wouldn't move if my hands weren't on it. And, again, like high telekinesis, all of these things. But I proceed to have this conversation with this ghost about how it convinces me that it would be very easy for it to kind of just like, just enter into my body. And, okay, so my friend Bucky has this expression, and it's kind of like a recovery expression. It's like people who have addictive behaviors are hot stove touchers. So that's like oh, that stove's hot, let me touch it and find out. I think I have already demonstrated that I have this problem. And I certainly I've wrangled it more. I'm a mother now, for God's sake. But I touched the stove, I went for it. I was like, okay, and I sort of instinctively, being the witch that I am, I just sort of figured out that I would light this candle and light that candle and kind of position everything just so. And just as I was kind of getting everything organized, I went to put my hands back on the planchette, and the basement door opened. And at the same time the basement door opened, the whole board just sort of flew across the room. And in my mind, I thought, oh, it was like mad that it got interrupted because here comes the boyfriend with the gallon of wine and, the like, hey, what's going on? Oh, you didn't use that by yourself, did you? And I just looked at him and I said, we need to leave. We need to go. So we left, and I couldn't even be in the house anymore. We left. We went down to a park or something. And but whatever it was stayed with me and certainly attached itself to me for an extended period of time, so that I had a series of dreams with a sort of ambiguous being in it. And then someone had suggested we go back into those tunnels where I'd already had a panic attack. So there were a number of things that happened after that sort of like kept the thread going until finally I told someone who was an older woman that I knew at work, who I happened to know was quite witchy. And I told her what happened without, I'm sure I painted myself in a more innocent light. And she said, you know what, whether you think that happened or not, there was no talk of going to the house and doing any kind of exorcism or anything like that. But she said, let's just go and we'll do a ritual down by the river, and we'll do it under the full moon, and we'll just kind of just make sure you're kind of cleaned of that. And so we did. The full moon came about a week and a half later, and she met me down by the river, and we bathed ourselves in the glorious waters of the Yuba River in the moonlight. And I felt a lot better after that. So, but anyway, there was, ongoing correspondence with something. What I think was interesting about it is that after the Ouija board was no longer there, I continued to feel like I was having correspondence with this thing, whatever it was. So, yeah, I mean, I did all the things you weren't supposed to do, all the things your mother warns you against.
Did it still continue hitting on you?
Yeah, it was exactly what was happening. The ghost was hitting on a 17-year-old girl repeatedly. It was probably the ghost of some horny old miner or something like that. Just like been living too long in the hills. Yeah, it did. And then, but then after that happened, after the sort of ritual, I think it just gave me I think more than anything, it gave me some power to just say you know what? I don't want you around anymore. Get out of here, which is a tough lesson for a teenage girl.
No kidding. Varla Ventura is here tonight. Yeah, going down the strange aisle of the paranormal. I have been in a number of haunted areas, and I got to tell you, one of the creepiest stories that ever happened to me was in 2018. My son.
Oh, you're looking out the window again.
I am. I think there is actually an animal moving out there. But my son was, I think, 3 or 4 years old, 2018. So it's 5 years ago. So he's 5 years old, and he was at daycare. And I'm on the phone talking with someone, doing some radio business. And all of a sudden, I'm in my basement. And when a child does that scream laugh that kids do at that young age, all of a sudden I hear really loud above me that screech laugh that kids do. And I said to the person on the phone, I said, "Did you hear that?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Was that your son?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "But there's a problem." And she goes, "What's that?" I said, "My son's not home. I'm the only one in the house." And she's like, "You got to be kidding me." I'm like, "No, I'm not kidding you." And she didn't believe me. I went upstairs, cleared the house, and I said, "Okay, I'm leaving in 10 minutes to go get my son from daycare." She goes, "I'm staying on the phone with you because I want to hear his voice." So I held her on the phone, pick up my son at daycare, call her, come back and put him in his car seat. And I said, "Can you say hi to daddy's friend?" And he's like, "Hi," and she's like, "Oh my God, that's the sound of the voice."
Oh.
And I'm like, "Yes." And I said, "But the problem is I just picked him up at daycare." That was weird. That was very, very weird for me.
Is that the house you live in now, or was it a different house?
Oh, my home here, where SOR headquarters is, has a lot of activity in it. On the property, in the house, in the backyard, lots of weird things happen.
It's a split level, right?
It's a rancher with a basement.
Yeah, because look, our basement ledges are lined up tonight. You see that?
I didn't notice, but that
They
is
are.
actually.
They are. That's like a similar style. Yeah.
Have you ever been? We got 4 minutes to go here. Have you ever been walking in a forest and had paranormal activity happen?
Yeah.
What's the strangest thing that's happened to you in a forest?
Probably. Oh boy, the strangest paranormal thing. You mean? The strangest paranormal thing. I think there's quite a few. A large number of them happened in Oregon over a period of time. The Oregon woods are, well, it's the Pacific Northwest, an area well. They have a certain vibe about them. So probably one of the stranger things actually took place during the day, and I can't even remember the name of the park now, but it was about an hour outside of Portland, Oregon. And I was on a hike, just a hike, whatever, a ramble with some friends on this through this beautiful dense forest. And there was a river and a waterfall nearby, and it was just gorgeous. And it was summertime, so it was like fairly warm, but it wasn't like super, super hot. So it probably was like early June or something like that. And we were just walking through this forest, and we got to this spot. We weren't even that far off the trail, but we got to this spot, and all of a sudden my body just went into like shock. It was like I had like heat stroke or something, but it wasn't warm enough to have heat stroke. And it was like the beginning of the hike, and I just went into shock, and I actually kind of started shaking and just sort of, like dropped down and had to ride it out, just kind of sat there for a couple of minutes, didn't really understand what was happening. The whole forest was sort of like convulsing around me. And then, sort of came to, and I just looked at everyone, and I was like, we're not going on this path. Like obviously something just happened to me, but that's not why we're not going on this path. We're not going on this path because there's something untoward waiting for us on the other end. So that was a very, it was 4 or 5 people, and they like, okay, well, we don't really want to do it if you don't. So that was like the more kind of, it wasn't like a medical thing. Like I felt really odd, but there was nothing happening with me really medically. It just was like I don't know. I just kind of had this breakdown before we even went on the trail. And then there's this cottage on this in the middle of Portland. There's this place called the Witches Cottage. And if you've ever been to Portland, it's in Forest Park, and it's this old stone building. Everybody just calls it like the Witches Cottage or the Witches Castle. And I'd been out there a few times with people, and I just loved it. And so I decided to go alone one time. And it's in the middle of the forest, and it doesn't have like a roof or anything. It's just like the ruins. And I heard something say my name 3 times on that trail. I was alone. And the third time it happened, I was in that little hut of the house. And it was just so clear that I thought someone had followed me. And that was enough to kind of freak me out, just that someone human had followed me. But, there was no one there. So I sort of scampered back towards civilization as quickly as I could. So I've had a couple little things more like that, like just sort of creepy things. And honestly, being a woman walking alone at any time in an urban forest is always a little frightening.
Yeah. You're lucky you didn't follow any of those voices, because bad things can happen when the voices come out.
Well, hot stove toucher. I'm not a follower.
That's right. Varla, we're going to get you to hold on right there. Hard to believe we only have 30 minutes left with you tonight on Spaced Out Radio. It's been a great night so far, sharing spooky stories with Varla Ventura tonight. VarlaVentura.net is her website, and you can find her books at any major bookstore across North America. We love having Varla here on Our Cryptid World. We will be right back on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. More to come right after this. Finally got the little bastard. We have, at this time of year, we get these little black bugs. They're called no-see-ums.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They have those up in the UP. They have those. We don't really have them here so much,
They
but
are annoying.
a little further north. Yeah.
They're small enough where they could fly right through a screen, right?
Yeah.
and they're just a pain in the ass.
And they're just maddening because they're kind of always in your peripheral vision, right? And you're just like,
Yes.
ah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do a little audience poll here. What should the Dave 101 be about tonight?
Oh, yeah. Good audience poll.
What do you think, Varla?
Well, I'm trying to think of things that have been, because usually something a little bit more topical,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm trying to think of something that's been in the news lately that would be significant. I mean, other than like UFO stuff. Well, because it's also sort of like your opinion about something, right? So like, don't be insulted by this, but it's a bit of a rant. Right? Yeah. This is your time to shine. I don't know. Okay, I have something very personal, but this has nothing to do with the paranormal. But you can't really rant about it because you're Canadian, so it's not your.
What's that?
Well, you have free health care, right? You have covered health care.
We got covered healthcare. It's not free.
It's not free. Okay. Okay. It's
I
not
pay
European.
I pay a lot of taxes.
Yeah.
But you know what? I will say this.
Yeah, but I pay a lot of taxes and I also pay for health care. So
here's the thing that I look at it. I think there's good taxes and there's bad taxes. And I don't really care. And it's just because I've never grown up in a different system, in any other system, but I really don't care that, if someone is making, say, $150,000 or they're making $28,000 a year, to me, healthcare is healthcare. It's all about people, right?
yeah.
So, we have to pay on a lot of shit now, especially medicine. A lot of companies, to save money, have pulled away on dental care.
You
Right?
mean you didn't have to pay for that before?
I've never paid for a doctor's visit, if that's what you're asking.
Nothing.
No.
I want to move to Canada. Oh,
You
we
know,
pay we pay. I pay monthly insurance. I have a deductible, and then every time I go to the doctor or my son goes to the doctor, unless it's an annual well child visit, I pay a copay. A copay. In other words, they're covering a little bit of it. So that's usually $40-$50 each time. And then
but I can tell
and
you,
then I pay for prescriptions, of course. Like if you have a good insurance policy, $120 medication is $12, but you're still paying that $12 out of pocket.
Well, I can tell you that I was blown away when a friend of mine from the States came up here, and we were at a Walmart to get we were looking for a TV, and I was blown away that this person in their state, that a tube of Voltaren was $100 in their state.
What's Voltaren?
It's like a pain relief cream.
Oh.
And up here it was like $12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, my medical that I get through my job, I think it covers like up to $500 for eyeglasses, covers, I think, 80% of my dental. I get counseling, if like up to 10 counseling sessions, if I need it. Covers up to 10 massage therapies.
What?
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's such an excellent preventative medicine, and we have such a skewed view of it as being a luxury, and it's actually really a body maintenance thing.
I agree.
And my
Okay,
body definitely needs maintenance.
here we go, Varla. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate tuning us all in. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can join our Space Travelers Club on Patreon. Here we go with Varla Ventura for the final half hour of Our Cryptid World. Her website, varlaventura.net. We're sharing spooky ghost stories. And right before the break, I asked Varla about spooky stories in the forest when she's been wandering around. Varla, welcome back.
Thank you. I love a good spooky forest.
Yes. I think the scariest thing that's happened to me, or that I've heard of in the forest, didn't really happen to me, but it involved me, was one night I was sitting in my studio doing my thing, but my buddy Mike, who is a lot of times in our YouTube chat, he was out hunting. And he's about driving wise about 25 minutes from me. And it was just getting into dusk, and he pulls into this gravel pit and parks his vehicle, then walks the 70, 80 yard road back up because it's a good area. He was hunting rabbits and he was hunting grouse. And so he walks to the top and waits a few minutes. So, because his vehicle went by to, let the animals calm down, so to speak. And then he slowly starts walking back down into the gravel pit for his vehicle. And so the interesting part about this is he got about 2/3 of the way down and he starts hearing my voice in the forest. Mike, I'm over here. Help me, Mike. Help me. Come here. I'm over here. And he's like, that ain't Dave. Okay. And he to this day, he says he ran back to his vehicle as fast as he could, hopped in his vehicle, got the hell out of there. He took his time going out, and as it was getting a little bit darker, he actually, positioned his vehicle into the trees so that way he could turn his lights on to see if he could see anything moving in there. He said he was almost tempted to go into that area to find me, but the better part of him got smartened him up and said, no, this isn't safe.
The wiser part.
Oh yeah. Now the strange part about it is, around here we have a lot of little people and forest dwellers who are known to take people by their voices. They lure people in. And I said, to this day, I said, Mike, if you would have followed that voice in, we would have never seen you again. You'd have been
Or
gone.
he would have been returned 7 years later, like skin and bones.
Could have
thinking that he had been in, some other realm the whole time, wandering the forest. I mean,
I'm not.
That trickster element of
yeah.
Whatever it is that. I mean, I think like probably the thing that this has not happened to me, but the thing that would, I think the thing that might convince me to go after it is if it sounded like my kid, like that would be I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but I mean, it seems like that's the thing that as a mother, I wouldn't be able to resist unless I was in a situation like you were, where you knew full well that you had dropped your child off at daycare and you knew that
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
you know, that's where he was. There was absolutely no way that he could be in the house. I've had that throwing voices thing. I find that to be a fascinating phenomena, and whether it's you know, what you would consider like a poltergeist or something else, or if it's a trickster fairy, or you know, if it's something just kind of trying to lure you into the woods. Or but I've had on new actually, you know, I still don't think this house is haunted, but I have had on 2 or 3 occasions been woken up to somebody again saying my name in a very clear way, sounding as if they were outside my, like, on my front lawn. And the first time it happened was not long after I moved here, and I briefly joined that horrifying thing called Nextdoor. Do you know that horrible thing where all the neighbors in the area kind of get on there and they talk about all the things that are happening in the neighborhood, and it's horrific. It's a horror show in like the most terrible social construct way. Basically, it's just like a gossip dump. And the thing is to sign up for it, you have to put your address in. So I had put my address in, and then I was, you know, it was a new neighborhood, and I had lived in the middle of the city for so long that I felt that living, I think initially I thought I kind of lived like a little bit more in the suburbs, and I thought it was like a little more of a small town, and I thought, oh, this is going to feel really safe. But actually, you know, when you're used to all the noises and such, it takes you a while to adjust to the quiet. And so I had been on that, like, Nextdoor or whatever, and I had only been here a little while, and I was laying in bed and I heard this person say my name, and it almost sounded a little bit like my brother, but it wasn't really, you know, it was definitely a male voice. And I kind of sat up in bed, and it was 2 a.m. So it wasn't so late that it was conceivable that somebody that somehow knew where I lived was walking drunkenly home from a bar and said my name. So that freaked me out. So I, you know, went and got off Nextdoor immediately, because I thought, I don't really need anybody knowing my address, you know, at this point. But then it happened a couple more times, but separated out. Like one time in the backyard, it just like as if I just in so normal, like as if somebody was just like, oh, hey, I got a package for you. Or, oh, hey, I just thought I'd stop by. And I didn't know that many people here, but I knew, you know, people from dropping my kid off at school and whatever. So there was, you know, a handful of people. But that throwing voices thing is very disconcerting. Nothing ever came of it, right? Like no one ever lured me into the woods, or I lured myself into the basement, certainly. But, you know, I haven't like followed the voices, but don't follow the voices. Good advice. Maybe we need a t-shirt that says that. Don't follow the voices.
That we do. Don't follow the voices.
Don't do it.
Ever. Oh, look, Merle's here. Merle's hanging out.
Merle. Oh, I owe Merle a reply. I'll reply to you promptly.
That's
not
right.
Promptly,
Yeah.
2 weeks later, but I owe you a reply.
Yes. Merle will be running the ghost tour in Reno for our fan party next year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Amazing. Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Heading out to
see what I'm so excited to see what he has planned. But, you know, Merle and I have had a few experiences together that I've shared in the forest, you know, with Bigfoot and being chased out of the forest by Bigfoot and everything. But Merle is one tough cookie when it comes to the paranormal. Like he has no problem putting, you know, his mind and body on the line to.
No, he doesn't, does he? He's got like a cop mentality about it. He's just like, I'm doing this right here in the line of fire.
He Merles it up. He Merles it up
He
big time.
merles it up. He's so
He
tough.
merles it up big
He's
time.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and, I mean, he has one of the scariest stories that I don't know if he thinks it's scary or not, but just north of us, there is a haunted doll named Mandy.
Ew, I already hate that.
Yeah, and Mandy almost killed Merle in
Ew.
2015. Mandy is in a museum in a town called Quesnel, and it's funny because psychics go there weekly saying, "Oh well, we got her out of there. She's gone. She's gone," but she never leaves. She just gets bored and walks out of her body. So
Oh,
Merle's
gross.
team Merle's
It's a
team was
creepy
there,
doll.
and they were investigating Mandy, and they had cameras on there. And while they were setting up their cameras, one of the teammates was caught kneeling in a trance in front of the doll. And for like 10 minutes, they tried to get him out of the trance and couldn't. And when they finally got him out of the
That's not
trance,
good.
he ran out of the building sick. So
Mm.
Merle then, he has his rituals that he does before a paranormal investigation, including getting a snack, so that way he doesn't get hungry or his stomach isn't growling during an investigation. So he walks out after spending a few minutes with Mandy. He walks outside to his vehicle to grab a snack. Next thing he knows, he is being grabbed on the shoulder by one of his teammates because he's now 10 feet from the highway. He walked about 50 meters, so about 150 feet towards the highway. Has
Oh,
no idea how he got there, felt absolutely sick afterwards, but this doll put him in a trance that was literally forcing him to go get hit by a vehicle on the highway.
oh my God. I want to stab that doll's eyes out.
Yeah. What's your opinion of haunted dolls?
I
Do you
hate
have
them.
do you have
Oh, I don't have any. I do have, hold on now. This might frighten some, but I have some poppets. I have some lovely poppets. This is a poppet made for me. It actually kind of looks like me. A little poppet my friend made for me. That's one poppet. This is, sorry, just leaning over here. This is my Dutch witch that I found on the streets in Amsterdam. Oh, I think, what year is it? 23 years ago, I found her. Love her. She's lovely. And I have this one that really freaks people out, but my mom made it for me. And I don't think she's freaky at all. Oh, my son made me this little doll. But these are different, I think, than what we're talking about. Like those kind of dolls that are sort of, like facsimiles of human babies meets like oddly small adult child hybrids, those are a little creepy. The creepiest doll that I've ever seen is Robert the doll, and he's supposed to be one of the most haunted dolls, although Mandy might give him a run for his money. Robert the doll is this super creepy doll. He's in a museum in it's the Fort Martello Museum in Key West. And the story behind him is basically that he belonged to this child, and I think that child got like sick or something and died. I can't remember that part of the story, but basically the doll was put away in the attic of this house in Key West for many years, and people moved into the house and they would hear like footsteps and things running around, and then eventually somebody like unearthed the doll, and you can Google Robert the doll if you haven't seen it, but he's basically like this burlap sack doll with like a stitched on face and a sailor's costume that's of course now sort of like worn and tattered, and he has like a little sailor's hat, but he's kind of like toddler sized, which makes it extra creepy. And yeah, he's just odd. And so when I was in Key West a few years ago, actually, I took my mom down there and we just did all the things, you know. We did the swimming and pretending we were mermaids in a lagoon and doing all the ghost tours, and we went and we saw Robert the Doll. And my mom actually got food poisoning the next day, and she's still convinced it was Robert the Doll. But you had to like walk in and say, hi, Robert, you know, and then say goodbye to him. And then you had to like, you had to ask permission if you wanted to take a photo. You couldn't just take a photo. I did all the things, but also there's another doll. I can't. Merle might remember it, but Merle and I went to the and Preacher went to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum when we were all in Vegas, and there was a doll that you had to walk in, and you were supposed to acknowledge it and then say goodbye to it when you were leaving, so it didn't like linger with you. So yeah, I mean, my opinion of dolls. I mean, you know, I'm the gal who used to chop all the hair off her Barbies. So my opinion of dolls is you can infer something from there. Not a big fan, but I like this like witchy, this little Dutch witch. She's a little kitchen witch.
Robert the Doll, I totally would not mess with. You know, it's like, you know, you're not allowed to take his picture without his permission.
Oh no, you have to say, and they actually make you, when you go there on a tour, like they make you say, hello, like they explain it to you. They tell everybody, hello, Robert. And they have all of these things on the wall. Sorry, the hand just came off of my doll, which is a little bit creepy. I was like, what is this? Oh, her hand came off. I'll just tuck that back up there. But yeah, you do. You totally have to say, you know, can I take your picture? And thank you so much. And then on the wall are all of these letters of apology to people who didn't do that and who regretted it and wrote these letters of regret. And but the thing is my mom, I went walking around and my mom continued a conversation. I looked over and she was talking to Robert. And then she went and she started talking to the docents, and she asked the docents if they had ever had any experiences. And one of them told her that they were frequently there, kind of like closing things down at the end of the night. Because, you know, docents are always, they're basically the unpaid caretakers, right? So they're always kind of there at times when, you know, it's slow and you can't pay someone. So you have a docent there. And they said that there had been times that they had come in and Robert the Doll was in a different position than he was. He sits in like this little chair, and he was in a different position than he was the night before, like a dramatically different position. And he's encased in like glass. So you would have to like remove that or like, you know, slide it up or whatever. I'm sure there's a way to get into there and then move him. But you know, no one was there during the night. And it wasn't just like he plopped over. It was more just like he moved. So yeah, creepy. Dolls are creepy.
Very creepy.
Yeah.
Very creepy. And allegedly, he also left his locked enshrinement one day to go get a toy of a stuffed lion because apparently they thought he was bored. And when they checked the videotapes, they still don't know how that lion got inside his curio cabinet.
Yeah, I think it's still there. If I remember right, I have to look at my picture that I took with permission. I have to look at my picture, but I think there was a little toy in there with him, a little stuffed lion. Yeah.
Yes. And you see with Mandy up here, to make her happy, they actually put a little lamb, like a little lamb ornament in there with her.
What would happen if you put Robert and Mandy in the same room? I think we're just hatching horror story ideas tonight. This is fabulous.
You know what?
So we're doing all winter.
That would be an extremely interesting experiment. Like you would have to do that for at least a month.
You know who
maybe
could pull it off? I think Zach Baggins has the clout to like get those dolls together because he's got a weird doll. He could probably do a temporary. You know how museums have like things on loan. I wonder if he could petition them and just put them all in a room and then put a camera on them and film them for a month.
I don't know. It would be extreme to see what happens. And I would I'm going to ask Merle that. I don't know if Merle's still listening or not, but he is. He says 90-day fiance.
Oh man, we're producing this. This is happening.
You know what? That's actually that is something that we should actually see about working on to see what would happen.
Yeah.
That would be
What
an
would
interesting.
happen if this haunted doll met this haunted doll and then, after 2 weeks introduce the third haunted doll? And then maybe throw in like another object in there, a ball.
Yeah. I don't
a
know.
red rubber ball.
I don't the problem is what would be the ramifications to those who set it up?
Oh, we'd be fine.
Sure.
Says the girl who led everyone into the basement for a inappropriate Ouija board session. Yeah, I think it'd be okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm in. I'm willing to take the brunt. I'll Merle it up for this one.
Well, you're going to need some super Merle in order to
Definitely
make
get a super Merle. Yeah.
It would be interesting to see what would happen, because I honestly believe there would be serious results. I don't know what it would be. I'm not saying it would be, go as far as the Chucky movies. Okay.
Ooh.
I'm not saying that.
Don't tease.
But I don't know if I would want to be involved in that, even though somehow I think I would.
Well, you can be the facilitator. Merle and I will be the conduits.
Well, we do plan on going up to visit Mandy here. It's on our list of things to do. Well, you come up in next year for summer, and we'll take you.
What do you think? I'm afraid of winter? I live in Minnesota. My winter is basically all year.
I don't like driving up there in winter.
Oh,
plus you got hockey every weekend.
Yeah, I'm basically cashed until March.
Summertime, you come up here, and Merle and I will take you to it. But Merle, seriously, we should see, for our little thing we're working on, we should see about getting Mandy and Robert together.
Yeah.
It's a documentary on its own.
It is. It's a documentary waiting to happen. Contact the Leo Martello Museum. It's like this rad little museum that's, Key West is low key. No kidding. It really is. The people are very, very approachable and very knowledgeable about their local history and very proud of it. And, also there's lots of freaks down there, like the fun kind.
Varla, 30 seconds with you. Please let everybody know where they can find all your books and find more on you.
You can go to the library or the bookstore, or you can go to varlaventura.net and you'll see my books, and hopefully there'll be a couple new ones coming soon. So yeah, you just find me on all the things under Varla Ventura. I'm the only Varla Ventura that I know of, so it should be pretty easy.
Varla, love you, dear. Thank you for coming on Space Dave.
Thank you. It was a lovely night.
It was. Enjoy yourself, and much love to all of you out there. Coming up next, we have Steve Stockton with another spooky story. Then Robin Haynes joins us for the Cryptid Report. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Stay tuned.
Do you think she looks like me a little bit? I kind of think she does.
Yes. You have the same eyes.
Oh, she's gonna get propped up. She was kind of down on the altar, but she's looking. Oh yeah, I know you need a little repair. Aw,
Yeah.
sweet thing.
All right, my dear.
Well, thanks, Dave. That was really nice. Cheered me up. Felt good.
Good. You
Distracted
needed
me.
it.
I really appreciate it.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Will
Much-
you just tell me the date for next month? When you just text it to me.
Yeah, I'll text it to you. I'll tell you right now.
It's the last.
October 26th.
Yeah, I have it. I have it on here. Yeah, I have you as. It just says Dave. That's just says
That's
Dave
all you
on
need
there.
is some date
Just a
time.
big bold. It's in all caps too. I always put it in all
I
caps.
like
Yeah.
being all caps.
Yeah, you're an all
All
caps
right,
kind
dear.
of guy. All right. Good night. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Varla Ventura, everybody. We love her. And if you ever get a chance to meet her, she is one of the people you want to meet in this field. I will be right back. You guys stay tuned. All right. By the way, Pixie Lara, if you're still in the chat room, I really love this toque. It's going to get a lot of use this winter. I can tell you that right now. A lot of use. All right. Big thank you tonight to W. Decker ×2, Gizmo, Steven, Human Carl, Debster, Lightwalker, Shelley, and T-Bone. Very much appreciate the love, everybody. Thank you. Don't forget, if you haven't already, for at least $5 a month, you can join the SOR Space Travelers Club on Patreon. The link is below in the description of the show. So we appreciate that. And at this time of the night, we say hello to all the agents and agencies that are listening on in. Give us a call sometime. Hello, Ross Dogs. Appreciate you keeping an eye on us. That is an Acura NSX 1991 or 2. That was given to me by River Dogma in Vegas. All right, everybody, let's do this thing. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Hope you're enjoying tonight's show. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Salmagundi. Salmagundi is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can join us on Patreon in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Okay, it is that time of the night where we say hello to Steve Stockton, who brings in another spooky story for us from Among the Missing.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. Now we have the case of Tanya Nicole Kosh. On February 10th, 1996, Tanya Nicole Kosh, a 14-year-old middle school student from Pennsylvania, went missing after walking out of her father's house. Officials believe she left voluntarily, but it was later learned that she was taken by a 38-year-old security guard, Thomas Hose, who was recently hired at her school. On a particular morning, Tanya expressed her frustration about her home life to Hose. Hose, a middle-aged father, suggested that Tanya come and stay with him for a while. Tanya agreed, but Hose kept her in a house owned by his parents for the next 10 years. Following her first 4 years in captivity, Tanya was given a new identity and permission to leave the house. In 2006, she reached out to a deli owner, Joe Sparico, whom she had befriended, and disclosed to him that she'd been held captive by Hose since she was 14. My name is not Nikki Allen, it's Tanya Nicole Kosh. These were the words uttered by the then 24-year-old Tanya. Hose was ultimately apprehended, charged, and later incarcerated, and Tanya was reunited with her family. I was so scared that nobody would believe me, Tanya proclaimed to WTAE-TV from the home of her father, Jerry Koch. Terry's mother, Sherry Konecki, said in an interview with WTAE-TV, "It's the best ending I could have thought about when I thought about what could have happened to her." Now we have the case of Linda Artiega. Eddie Huff and Linda Artiega, a pair of siblings from Blackwell, went on a hiking trip in the Ozarks on September 22, 2012. Upon returning alone, Eddie claimed that Linda, who was 53 years old, was safe with relatives. However, it was later discovered that Linda was not with relatives, as Eddie proclaimed. Upon his return, Eddie appeared confused and unable to recall what had happened. In the meantime, a search party was formed to look for Linda, and she was eventually found, disturbed and distressed, in a secluded part of the forest after being missing for 5 days. Linda's memory was vague, but she knew her brother was injured and needed help. When she started to hike, Linda was wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and flip-flops, which she lost. She says she ate watercress, nuts, and berries to survive and drank water from a creek. As Linda made her way through the forest, she tried to reach out to other hikers for assistance but had no luck. She also felt uneasy, sensing shadowy figures watching her from the trees. Eventually, she woke up in the woods and was found with the search and rescue team. Linda's niece, Shelley Friend, said doctors think some of the berries the duo ate while lost might have been toxic and caused them to become disoriented. According to Dr. John Sorg of North Arkansas Medical Center, quote, I suppose she could have had some toxic ingestion that may have caused hallucination, in other words, but she's been very consistent with that story. Today, in her mental examination, she seems very oriented and appropriate in conversation, end quote. This particular incident remains unexplained, but Linda credits her faith to her safe recovery. She told Searcy County Sheriff Kenny Castle she prayed every night that God would keep her safe and help her get out of the woods. She said she knew he was there with her, said Castle. She gave God the glory that got her out.
Big thank you to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing YouTube channel for another great story for us here on Spaced Out Radio to kick off hour number 3, as he does each and every Monday through Friday night. If you want more, just head on over to his YouTube channel. Yeah, youtube.com/Among the Missing. From the missing to the mountains, looking for Sasquatch and other cryptid tales. Here's Robin Haynes with the Cryptid Report. Super Uke, the Cryptid Report with Super Uke. Robin Haynes, it's good to see you tonight, even with clothing on. You know, a couple nights ago we weren't too sure about what you were wearing, but that's okay.
No, I had a regular shirt on. It just cuts across like this.
Oh, yes,
When
yes.
you called me, you said, "Are you in your pajamas?" And I said, "Yeah." And you said, "Well, I don't care. Just come on the show anyway." But I did not wear pajamas. I had clothes on.
Wonderful, wonderful. I am wearing a beautiful blue and green toque tonight that our
I love it.
See, Laura made, and I have no idea.
She made it.
She made it and gave it to us gave it to me at the Vegas party that we had for our fans earlier this year. And I can't see, the patch reads Bigfoot Patrol Canada on it. I have no idea where she found this patch.
That is fantastic.
Oh, yes. I will be wearing it when I go back in the forest on Saturday night.
Oh, good job. Way to go, Laura. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I feel really blessed. I've waited. I've held off until tonight. This is the first night I'm wearing it because it's finally getting cold enough to wear a toque. For our American listeners, a toque is Canadian slang for a beanie. It's just the way it is. It's a toque, and yes, so it's very comfortable, and I'm going to start wearing it into the forest now because it's freaking awesome. Let's just be honest. It's freaking awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I love her for it. Absolutely love her. But I want to ask you, okay, because Saturday night I've had a good run on things this week. Very good run on things. I've had some very good luck this week. And I just want to say that I really have a feeling that Saturday night is going to be very impressive when I'm out there. I just have that feeling.
I think that's great. And you've got me on speed dial. So if you need anything, you can call.
Yes, but out there I can't call. See, I would love it if there was signal out there because
You
that
need
way
to get one of those Zello things. I'll have to send you the link for it. It's like a little walkie-talkie thing, and it goes where they have no signal. And instead of calling, you can text it to people.
yes, my friend has that. Little
Yeah.
Marquis has that.
Yeah. I don't have one, but I know people that do, and they love it.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna go out with a few people, and it's gonna be pretty darn cool. So I'm pretty excited about it. And what we're doing is we're gonna get there before the sun sets. We're going to go on out, set up our lawn chairs, and set up our campfire. We're gonna get some hot dogs going,
Yeah.
get the smells going, get the creatures coming in, and I think there's going to be some action. It's supposed to be a clear night. It's a full moon weekend, so it's going to be very bright out there, and it just sets up perfectly for what happened literally 51 weeks ago.
That's awesome. I can't believe it's been that long already.
Hard to believe. I know.
I know. It's time for another sighting.
Right? That's
And
what
he goes out there. I mean, he's still there.
Is he?
Yeah. It was deliberate when you saw him last time. That was by his choice.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. And I am, I'm not trying to jinx myself here, but I really, really do believe that there's going to be something happening. And I have a feeling it's going to be really, really cool, because last weekend, my friend Mike was out there by himself, and he was actually having something. He wouldn't say what it was because he never saw it.
Yeah.
But he said, Dave, it sounded so bipedal. It sounded so bipedal around him. And he ended up getting some very good pictures of some orbs that were in the area.
Yeah.
And but he got to that point where he just felt, you know what, it's 10 o'clock at night. It's time to pack up and go home. So
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
can't wait to hear how it goes.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen? You're the intuitive one.
I'm the intuitive one. Number one, I think that there's definitely going to be at least 5 out there. Whether or not you'll get to see them, I don't know, but that's what you're going to have walking around you. So stay on your toes. Like if you see that one again, know that there's others with him. And I see one of them is going to be a youngster. It'll be a little boy. And they're going to be like just out there watching you guys. Whether or not you'll get a glimpse, I don't know, but they're definitely going to be there.
I don't know if we'll get a glimpse. I'm literally feeling that we are going to hear things.
Yeah, I do
think
too. I mean, they're going to be moving around. There's going to be you're going to hear them. They're definitely going to make sure they're there.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just have a feeling we're going to hear things, and I don't know if it's the sighting wise. I don't know if it's going to be them or the UFOs that show up there again.
Yeah, there's going to be some. I know there's going to be 5 of the Sasquatch there. One of the 5 is a young boy that looks to be, I want to say 5-6 years old.
So how tall would that one be?
Well, I would say Zerky here is 5. He's 5 foot tall. Like I want to say he's 4.5 to 5 foot, and he's only 5 years old. He was born right after I moved here. And he's gotten to be a big boy because he comes up on my porch and steals the Farrell's cat food all the time. So you can like see him through the windows that go around the door. And he's a big boy. So I want to say you're probably looking at between 4 and 5 feet.
Okay. So
Closer to 4.5.
The other thing that I was thinking of doing, and I wanted to get your opinion of this, is I was thinking of in certain areas setting up glow sticks.
You know what? I really like that idea, and I'll tell you why. When I was in Michigan, we did a lot of course, the ones there walked around uncloaked around the yard all the time. We have somebody in the bushes over there because they're wood knocking. But we use glow sticks there. And a very good friend of mine, Bob Daigle, was the one that brought the glow sticks out. They went crazy over them. They had so much fun. Like, they really, really enjoyed them. I would go
Yeah.
out there, crack them, and light them up. They have a blast with them. They really and truly do. The ones that we used them with, we had great interaction with it. And Bob, in fact, he took one. It was a glow stick, but it had a button on it to turn it on and off. He would turn it on and he put it in this big, huge jug and he hung it up on a tree. And it would stay lit all the way until he got back to the house. He'd just sit down by the bonfire and it would turn off. He'd
See,
get up and he'd
Go
go
ahead.
out there, and it did that 5 or 6 times.
The only thing that scares me about the glow sticks is if they bite into them, because that's not going to be good.
Yeah, I was worried about that too, but I never found one chewed up. I really didn't. They had a ball with them. It's like Christmas time. They loved the lights. And so I would go put a Christmas strand of lights just out in front where they could see it. And I put a boom box out there and I played Christmas music. And oh my God, they went crazy. They were forever. The only problem I had was they would try to take the boom box while I was playing music and then it would come unplugged. So I ended up putting batteries in it and they would move the boom box around the yard. I'd find it in various places of the yard playing music. But they loved it.
Wow. Yeah, I will definitely do that then, is beforehand, because we do have, I think there's about 4 or 5 spots that I would like to put them, and I would be very intrigued to see what happens with them.
Yeah. Put them in a plastic jar, obviously not glass, because you don't want anybody getting broken or cut. But I mean, turn them on and put them in a plastic jar, like a peanut butter jar or something, and put the lid closed on them and see what they do. Or even like go to the Dollar Tree and buy the Tupperware container. It's for $1.
Yeah.
Put your glow stick in it, put it in a small Tupperware container and put it out there and see if they take them out or if they just move them around. But ours loved them. Like, we had really good luck with the glow sticks.
Right. See, I was just the ones that we got that I have, you can actually tie onto things.
Yeah.
I was going to tie
Hang
them
them from
on.
the trees.
Yeah. That's what I was going to do. You know, I don't know how I would react if all of a sudden I saw one move. I really don't. You know,
that would be great. I had a friend that bought me a hula hoop that had the glowing piece inside the hula hoop itself.
right.
And she said, I bought that because I wanted to see what your Bigfoot would do with it. I'm like, okay. We put it out and we hung it up on a tree in the woods. And when I went out that night at 2:00 in the morning to sit with them, one of them had it and was running around the woods with it. And all you could see was this lit up hula hoop moving all over through the woods. It was
Right.
hysterical. They had fun with that too.
Well, you know what? It's an experiment I'm going to try.
Good. I mean, every group is different. What one likes, others don't. You know what I mean? Same thing with the
Yeah.
food. It's an individual thing, but definitely try it. Like I said, we had great luck with the glow sticks at my place.
Right. Right. I just hope that, you know, I'm sure they've seen them before from all the campers in the
Yeah.
area, you know, and there's not a lot of camping where we are doing this investigation. The odd time you'll see a hunter's trailer pulled in to the spot or whatever, but I'm really hoping to see if that happens. And it just, I don't know. It just seems like something's going to happen Saturday. That's
Try
the
it.
feeling
Yeah. You got to keep me posted. I need details. I know that there's going to be the 4 adults and the 1 little boy out there. Whether or not you'll get a glimpse of them, you should hear, like, keep your ears open because you should hear them moving around at the very least.
Right. Right. Well, you know what? The full moon is going to allow us a lot more bright light. It's going to allow us a time to really dig down and try and call them in. What I'm going to try and do here is I want to try, because if my certain friends come out, my friend Pauline is very, very spiritually connected. She's forgotten how powerful she is. She's a medium, but she's really been fearful of getting into other stuff. and I think that she can
Yeah,
connect.
I can understand.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, between her energy and my energy, I think we might be able to call them in, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
And
try it.
oh, I'm pumped up.
I
Want to
have
go
a friend. I have a friend of mine that sells these boxes, and they're called wishing machines. And basically, their energy work only with this box, and it takes your intent and your desire, and it puts it through quartz crystals and copper. And it's just like if you're doing energy work, and you can manifest what you want to happen. And now we've got people that are taking these wishing machines, and if you set the dials on them for certain frequencies, the Sasquatch love it. They come in. They pick up the energy that radiates off the crystals and the copper.
Really? That's interesting. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah,
What
I never
about
thought to
noise?
use. Huh?
What about noise? What about noise like music?
They love it. They love music. You don't want any like rap or anything like that because that's kind of more annoying to them. But they do like music, very much so.
What kind? Is it more soft, classical,
Um,
nature sounding, or is
no,
it,
I mean,
or
I've
are
played
they Iron Maiden heavy
I
metal fans?
played country. No, I played country or light pop for them, and they do pretty good. You have to understand that there's such an emotional being that when you play anything that's kind of harsh, it's like a trigger. So you really don't want that. I do like country, light pop. They do like Christian music, believe it or not. They actually do. Bethel music, that kind of stuff. They do well. I know some of them that have liked jazz. My daughter played the clarinet for years, and she would go out every weekend and sit outside and play the clarinet for them. They absolutely loved it. They'd come out of the woodwork.
Really?
Yeah, they really are. They love the music. They just don't like the harsh beats. They
Right.
don't like anything that's too busy. They don't like anything too harsh. Anything, that feels like a darker vibe to it. They want light energy. They're full of light energy, happiness, love, that kind of thing. I mean, yeah, there's bad ones, but primarily the other ones, the good ones.
I like Rob G's comment. Damn, Bigfoot don't like rap. Closed-minded AF. That is awesome.
I guess if you have some really nice upbeat rap that isn't too hard, they could handle that.
Yeah.
I know the ones next door. My next door neighbor plays nothing but rap. Like he goes out and works on his truck and he's got rap going all the time. And the Foots do come out of the woods. I don't necessarily know that they're happy about it, but they do come out. They come up in the back of my yard and kind of watch over there. Like they're a little cautious of it. But I seem to notice better reaction with a little bit of the softer stuff.
See, here I was going to crank up some Metallica for whom the bell tolls. You know?
You never know. It depends on the individual.
Yeah, no, what we're going to do is we're going to do what's worked in the past. We're going to sit around the fire. We're going to roast some hot dogs or whatever else we have. We're going to sit around, have some conversation. We're going to meditate a little bit to try and call them in. And then I know it's going to be between that 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock hour where everything's all of a sudden going to break. It always seems to be around that time in that area.
Usually at my house, it picks up after like 10, 11 o'clock. Like it's been kind of quiet, actually, other than like Tuesday. There was one in the bushes when I was in the Jeep Tuesday. But I didn't think anybody was out here when I first got out here. But since I got out here, I've gotten wood knocks. And then somebody smelled really bad for a minute, which most of the ones around here don't smell bad. This one smelled atrocious. And now the smell's gone. But I can hear movement in the bushes. But I haven't seen anything.
Well, on that note, it is our time to say goodnight to you on the abbreviated version of the Cryptid Report. Robin, we will talk to you next week, my dear.
You got it. Bye, everybody. Hey, I want to say real quick, they've been sending me a lot of questions and things through Messenger or email. You guys are fabulous because they're amazing questions.
Wonderful. And thank you for taking those.
Bye.
Robin Haynes, everybody. Coming up
See you
next
week.
Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio. Get off my lawn. It's the Dave 101. And we got the weird news of the week. So stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of fun in the final half hour of tonight's show. Be right back. Oh my, some of these stories I have for you tonight is kind of weird. Kind of weird. I don't know. Mhm. Give me 2 seconds here, guys. All right, cool. I'll read these ones first. And we'll go like that. All right. How are you guys? Want to say a big thank you to W. Decker ×2, Human Carl, Deb, Lightwalkers, Gizmo, Steven, Shelly, and T-Bone for the amazing super chats tonight. And we'd love it if you joined our SOR Space Travelers Club. It's $5 a month minimum, and you can join it by going to our YouTube channel and clicking on the link right below this show in the description. Here we go, everyone. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can join us on Patreon in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is that time of the week, the night, the year, where I say, get off my lawn. This is my mind, my circle, what I'm thinking. It's a Dave 101.
It's time for Dave 101.
Each and every week I go through this classic debate in my mind, what I want to talk about and what's really kind of irking me or bothering me or just something I need to get off my chest when it comes to the Dave 101. This time it was no different at all. But you know what? Instead of getting into whistleblowers and NASA and UFOs, which I normally rant and rave about, this time I want to talk about experiencers. Yes, the forgotten souls of ufology, the ones who are blamed for the cryptid sightings, those who say they got ghosts but are told it's just nightmares and imaginations. No, we all have some sort of experience in life, whether it's being abducted or whether it's working for a bad boss or, maybe a puke on carnival rides. It doesn't really matter. The experience happens for everybody, no matter what the topic may be or what you enjoy or not. I'll tell you what isn't enjoyable, though, is being ignored. And for some reason, in our group of thoughts here, when it comes to the paranormal, supernatural, ufological, extraterrestrial, cryptozoological, whatever the study of the subject is, of the phenomena, there is a group of people out there who think that if you're an experiencer, your testimony, your stories, your evidence ain't worth squat. Worth nothing. And let me tell you this, though. If you've never had a true experience, shut up. Go away. Shoo with you. And the reason why I take that attitude is because the experience, as Gary Nolan says, is the first clue to find out what's going on. Yeah. This time, we need to start listening to people more. I'm tired of the government stepping in, trying to hold the UFO story accountable. They're never going to do it. Hell, they can't even balance a budget. How can we trust them with UFOs? I'm tired of people on YouTube and the internet and social media telling me what I have or have not experienced. Classic example is a couple of weeks ago, I put a photo on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to check it out, go to Instagram at Dave Scott SOR of my son. And it was inside a haunted barn. And my friend Phil likes to take pictures. He's a paranormal investigator as well. He likes to take pictures. And he took 3 pictures of my son. 2 of the pictures did not have any distortion in it. The third one looked like there was an entity attached to my son. Now, the naysayers say it's the camera, it was light refraction, it was everything else. No, it wasn't. My son was 40 feet in the building. Yes, there was light outside the open door of the Clydesdale barn, but there was no sun coming in the building. Why? Because the Clydesdale barn's doors face east. And this was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is well on its way to the west. No way the sun could have made that happen. Now, I'm not an expert on photography or anything like that, but why do we have to try and debunk? And the funny part about it is there were people out there, come on, Dave, what kind of camera did you use? And why would you post that photo? And what, the comments were ridiculous, to be absolutely blunt. And it kind of shook me, it pissed me off a little bit. Because why can't we just accept that sometimes when we caught something cool, that's what it is? Yes, there's the obvious of what things are and are not. I'm not trying to make a non-ghost photo out of a ghost photo. That isn't it whatsoever. The point that I'm getting at is there always has to be that one person or number of people in this case who are always there to try and shoot down whatever it may be. No, we don't want anything exciting happening. That's just too much in life. Why would we want something interesting to happen? Right? To me, if you look at the photo, it looks like a shadow person attached to him. It's very interesting indeed. All right. It kind of blows my mind because I know there were pictures taken before and after. But that being said, the skeptics always have to get their shots in because they have this profound way, skeptics do, of really trying their best to act like they know better. Okay? Act like they're the ones who know and they're educating you on what you're seeing and what you're not. No, I know my little boy, and I know that where he is standing in the photo, whatever it is that is around him would not be shining on the back side of him if the light is coming from the front. It's pretty obvious. But the comments are kind of funny. 98 comments on this photo. And once again, if you want to see it, I have it on my Facebook profile, or you can see it on my Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All right. Don't mean to be rude or anything, but I don't see anything other than a shadow behind your son, casted by the sunlight from the door. There is no sunlight in the door. It's sunlight outside, but the sun is not coming through the building. This is where it gets a little intriguing. I just don't get it. We're looking for evidence. We have people who show evidence. And yes, I don't post anything unless I'm trying to absolutely figure something out. I don't even post a message. And there was one lady who basically said that, I'm trying to find the comment here, that I didn't know what I was talking about. That's okay. But for some reason, we seem to have this opinion of people who have experiences that we are really, really wanting to teach them a lesson, that what they're experiencing isn't really what they're experiencing. We see it every day on social media, on X, especially when it comes to UFOs. There's nothing wrong with people sharing their experiences. When we get the topic going and generated, it's a lot of fun to see what actually comes out of people's mouths. For instance, with Halloween now coming, and Halloween always tends to bring out the ghosts in people. Everybody wants to share a ghost story. Are we not supposed to believe them because they're not part of the paranormal? What are we supposed to do? I would like someone to explain to me why evidence that people like you and me catch, whether it's lights in the sky or whether it is a photograph like this one that was caught of my son, on why we are not allowed to just say what it is, something anomalous. Not everybody is stupid enough when they stare up at the stars at night to not know what a constellation is or what a satellite is. And it's frustrating when you get these keyboard warriors who take a photograph or a video and, oh, that's Cassiopeia. Oh, that's the Big Dipper. Oh, that's Jupiter. That's Mars. That's Elon Musk's Starlink. The majority of us already know what it is. And yes, I have seen the videos, people posting, oh my God, the aliens are invading. In the meantime, we know it's Elon Musk's Starlink. The idea that so many skeptics are so sure of themselves that they have to bring you down to their level because of your excitement of actually catching something, it's unconscionable. There's no sense to it. Now, sometimes, look, I'm not saying this is a 100% thing, because sometimes the evidence is so bad that you could tell that it's the final stars of the handle of the great Big Dipper there. We know that. We know what it looks like. We've been staring up at the stars for years. The Big Dipper is one of those constellations. Whether you are in a polluted sky of light pollution, you can still see the Big Dipper. We know because we're not silly. We know, and our minds know, and our heart and souls know when something isn't right. It's okay to post the evidence. And this is why I tell people that if I ever had that $1 million footage of a Bigfoot, I wouldn't share it to the world. Why? The criticism that comes along with it. There are people who take this seriously. And when I say taking it seriously, I'm saying if you look at the Patterson-Gimlin film from Bluff Creek, California, back in the 1960s, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, for decades, had threats to their lives because they captured a Bigfoot. They had threats to their families, their children, their grandchildren. For what? Capturing a video of Bigfoot? Just because somebody doesn't believe that they want to make sure that nobody can believe? What sense does that make? Now, with CGI and artificial intelligence the way it is today, it's understandable to see that any video coming forward in the future should be treated with major skepticism. And yes, we should also say that there are people out there that no matter what it is, they're going to believe it. Okay? We have to sort through that. People need to be their own biggest skeptic. And when you are your own biggest skeptic, like I am to me, you can tell what is real, what is fake. Now, do we get caught sometimes that maybe what we see is something real that someone else may say, no, that's a recording of an air conditioner. That's not heavy breathing. We can understand that. We can accept that in good conscience if the discussion is civil. But there are those out there who, just because you believe a certain way, they want to ruin you. They want to ruin your career. They want to ruin your story to make sure that you get the hell out of the community because you're the problem with it. The nuts and bolts people are very much like that. The fresh bloods in the cryptid world are very much like that. And the ever-zealous ghost hunters are extremely like that. Let people have their experience. Let people share what they have. And if they are able to accompany it with a picture or some sort of evidence, don't rip up a new one for it. They're doing what we need them to do. They're talking, they're communicating, and they're sharing their story so that way we may be able to move the ball an inch forward. That is your Dave 101 for tonight. If you're on YouTube watching this, do me a favor and let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Let's get to the news.
What time is it?
It's time for Shirky Poo's news!
Uh-oh, here we go. Now, if I was a professional chess player, I definitely would not cheat like this. I wouldn't even think of cheating like this. Nonetheless, I wouldn't even know how to cheat like this. An American chess player has categorically denied using a vibrating anal beads to beat the world's top player during a tournament last year. American Grandmaster Hans Niemann appeared on Piers Morgan Uncensored over the weekend and was asked by the host if the accusation was true. Categorically, no, of course not, Niemann said, seated alongside his lawyer. In September 2022, top-ranked chess player Magnus Carlsen of Norway accused Niemann of receiving strategy tips through vibrating beads at the $500,000 tournament in St. Louis. Following an investigation, chess officials were unable to find any evidence to support these vibrating accusations. Morgan wanted to know what Niemann's initial reaction to the sensational story in the typical staid chess world. Well, obviously, it was very disheartening to be accused of cheating after the victory, Niemann said. But, these things, it happened. And I learned a lot from that time. Niemann was also asked if he learned anything from the experience. It has really taught me, he said, a lot of important lessons about life and chess. And I think it's only strengthened my resolve. Just to be clear, you didn't cheat, Morgan asked a second time. Of course not, Niemann answered. Morgan also asked if Niemann had ever used anal beads while playing chess in the past. Well, your curiosity is a bit concerning, Maybe you're personally interested, but I can tell you no. Last month, Niemann settled a $100 million lawsuit he brought against Carlsen, the website chess.com, and chess streamer Hikaru Nakamura after allegations he had cheated during the match. Anal beads to cheat at chess. Who would have thunk it? Yeah. A woman in Ontario will be practicing a lot of safe sex after receiving more than 1,000 condoms in a box that was delivered to her home. Yeah. Joelle Angelhart told CTV News that she doesn't know why she received a delivery that contained 30 boxes of condoms, with each package containing 34 of the rubbers. The woman said that she and her husband received an email from Amazon stating the contraceptives were being delivered, but she ignored it, thinking it was a scam. We automatically assumed the email was a scam because it was not something we would purchase, Angelhart said. What a naughty girl. Naughty, naughty girl. The couple were perplexed upon receiving the Amazon package at their home, and Angelhart's credit card was also charged $670 for the order. We clearly did not order this package, she said, noting Amazon won't accept the return because they were personal items. She's been trying to get a refund from Amazon for months. Amazon only refunded the money after being contacted by CTV News. The woman was told that she could keep the condoms. Cybersecurity experts told the news outlet that the delivery is similar to a brushing scam in which vendors send packages to customers in order to boost ratings with faux reviews. In Angel Heart's case, her account may have been hacked since she was charged for the birth control. The Justice League, they are not, but they will provide justice to those caught in car boots in Atlanta, Georgia, for a small fee, of course, because no one works for free. A duo known as Boot Girls have a request to remove those restrictive boots from cars in Atlanta, which have been the bane of the existence of residents who deem it excessive. Donning masks, the Boot Girls consisting of appropriately named Boot Baby and Boot Shiesty, have a special boot key and provide boot removal services for $50 per boot, which are requested via text or Instagram. Not everybody's happy with the Boot Girls, though, specifically Atlanta cops, private properties, parking lot owners, and booting companies. On its Facebook page, the parking companies, private property, and private booting companies are vexed about this turn of events, and the City of Atlanta Police Department is clear about how they feel about freelance boot removal service. The Atlanta Police Department notes on its Facebook page that while owning a boot key isn't illegal, using one to modify or open a car boot can result in criminal charges. And finally tonight, in Corbin, Kentucky, police officers stumbled upon a stray porker wandering loose on the aptly named Bacon Creek Road last week. In a post on their Facebook page, authorities say they stumbled across a lost pig while on control. Cops picked up the stray and placed it in the back of the cruiser. Authorities are still searching for the piglet's owner. Corbin police officers have wrangled a small pig on Bacon Creek Road. Seriously, if you own this pig, he's in custody of the police department. No charges laid. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god of self. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Adventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Woohoo! All right. Let's take these off. Close this up. Give me just 2 seconds here, guys. All right. For Moody Mongol, he wants to know about this sticky note on the guitar. So, about a year and a half ago, we had a guest in Denmark, or a listener in Denmark. His chat room name was Ethereal Aura. And we hadn't seen him around the chat room for a while. And then one day he comes in to the chat room after the show, like we're doing right now. And he says, I came to say goodbye. And we were like, goodbye? Like, where are you going? Are you going on a holiday? And he says, no. He goes, in 8 hours, I will no longer be on this planet. He goes, I'm sitting in my hospital bed. My father is beside me. And he had health issues in his entire life where he could barely breathe. And he had asked the doctors for assistance in moving on with their program, if you know what I'm saying. Because there are certain things you cannot say on YouTube for some stringent, stupid reason. So he sat with us for an hour. And then he finally said goodbye. But before he said goodbye, I said to him, I said, dude, I said, when you get to the other side, I said, I'm going to put a sticky note on the guitar. And it says, Ethereal Aura, February 25th, 2022, Footprints in the Sand. And I said, when you get the opportunity from the other side to come say hello, I said, if you could move the sticky note, I'd appreciate it. And he said, not a problem. He'll do his best. Well, it's about 4 or 5 months later, I was sitting here and my desk was facing this way at the time. That's the old look of the studio as I've gone back to the original now. And I actually watched the sticky note move. Was it? No, maybe I was on this side. I think I still was in this mode because people saw it move too. Yeah, Steven, my window is still open. So that was it was like he came into the studio and moved the sticky note. And I've left it there. I moved it once just to kind of show how it moved, but I put it back the way it was. And if he ever wants to come back and move it again, he can come back and move it again. Yeah, that's right, Joe. I was on this side because all of you guys saw it move too. Scared the hell out of me in a good way. But, we knew it was him because that's what he said he was going to do. So that's what he did. He came into the studio and moved the sticky note. Like this here is a classic example of the Dave 101 where the skeptics will say, the sticky note probably lost its stickiness due to the dry air and moved on its own. I had that sticky note so tight in those strings, the paper wouldn't have moved. I made sure of that. The paper would not have moved on its own. But the skeptics don't want to hear that, right? Because they're just going to make up whatever they want to suit their fancy anyways. Yeah, that was crazy. Hey, Neil Warden and Mrs. Donna, how are you guys doing? But that's honestly what happened, and it was really cool, and that's the story behind the sticky note on the guitar. Yeah. Any other questions? They're saying an orb just flew over your head. Possibly. Maybe it did. I didn't see it. My eyes are focused on editing right now. Hey, Rob G, I'm going to call you when I'm done. I have an idea. So I have an idea for you. I love it, Moody Mongol. Is there truly anything a post-it note can't do? Oh, yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, it's pretty, it was a pretty intense time. Pretty intense time. Buckethead, how you doing, man? That's exactly right. Buckethead says, it's good to believe in stuff like this. The universe is full of wonderful things we don't understand. Amen to that, man. Amen to that. I have not felt Butch around lately, no. Hey, AA Ron, the original AA Ron. What's happening? Straight to Lumbridge. Good morning to you. Do I want to be buried or cremated? I will be cremated when that time comes. I don't want to be buried. I have a rule that the people who know me, they know I don't want a funeral or a celebration of life. I don't want anything. Thank you, Debster. Much love for that super chat again. So I have instructed my loved ones, when the time comes when my number is called, that I want to. The only rule that I have is when they put me into the fire to turn me to ashes and dust, that they must play Paradise City when I'm going in, and keep it cranked. And keep it cranked while I'm going up in smoke. That's the only thing that I request. But I've already told some very good friends where to put me, which I will be scattered along my favorite fishing holes. And that is that. Yeah. That is that. So, it's actually a very touchy subject for me, because it puts me in a conundrum of, is that over the line discussion something that personal with our fans? And now I got to think about that. The act of saying it is not, but the reasoning behind it, that's where I get confused. I have seen many ghosts, Neil. Many, many, many. Ghosts are actually quite easy to see. You don't need to be psychic to see them. What you have to do is you have to have trust in your ability. Hold on, I think I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. You have to have trust in your ability that when you see something out of the corner of your eye, then you turn and look and there's nothing there, that you actually saw what you believe you saw. Trust your instincts and intuition. You'll see a lot more ghosts. You don't have to be psychic. It's not a psychic thing. Now, channeling or contacting spirits, that's totally intuitive. But seeing them, no. No, I don't believe that is. Oh, Simon, that's okay. I didn't mean to be so personal. Going through this with a family member dear to me. I'll be honest with you. Kind of keep some fun in that story. I just don't want to be eaten by bugs. That just grosses me out. Totally grosses me out. Mr. Cowley. Ba, ba, ba. Welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley. Bam, bam, bam. Loves his spaced out radio. One day I will get to that second stanza. Just letting you know. Yeah, Ross Lambda, that's kind of cool. Hi, Xochitl Paez Richards. Any other questions? Sabrina, we all have thoughts about our mortality. I do have a fear of death, total fear of death. Okay. That isn't really the reason why. I don't want a funeral because there are certain people who have hurt me in my life. But I don't want to give them one final chance to get me. And therefore, the best way for me to do that is not have a funeral. So that way, I go out on my own terms and give my middle finger to the world. That's probably the easiest way to say it. Pat Leal, how you doing? $7.14 custom diecast river dog. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Any more questions? Any more questions? Chrono Trigger. Why should you never shower with a Pokemon? It might Pikachu. That is a horrible dad joke. I almost laughed at that one. Welcome to SOR chat, Chrono Trigger. Carl, he's still far away. He's closer, but nowhere close to being where we need him yet. Yeah, I would love to get Danica Patrick on. She likes the woo. She totally likes the woo. You know what? I wonder. See, the problem with her is she probably still has who's she married to? She's not married. Who is she dating though? Wasn't she dating somebody famous? I don't even care about her car career. I just want to talk woo with her. And we'll try that. Let's see if we can get her. What's that going to hurt? Round table tomorrow night, people. It's going to be fun. Katie Page, Science Bob, Rob G, myself. I got maybe a couple others coming on. I don't know yet. And yeah, let me check that out. Thank you tonight to W. Decker ×2, Deb ×2, Human Carl, Gizmo, Steven, Lightwalker, Shelly, and T-Bone. Guys, if you can, do us a favor. Join the Space Travelers Club. It's really cool for us. Really helps us as we're starting to build a good community. Right now we have, it doesn't sound like much, but we got 23 people in there. We'd love to add you to it. And the link is in the description below. And we'd love to be able to have a chat with you guys about it and have some fun. So if you wouldn't mind, we'd love for you to do that. On that note, I'm going to say good night and goodbye. Deborah Norsworthy, welcome to SOR chat. And she wants to be buried face down so all her enemies can kiss her ass. That's right. Why not? Talk to you later, guys. Good night.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.